What is up with everybody who's joining? What up, Parker? How's it going, bro? All right, and we're live over on the YouTube side. All right, this is the rules for my live. I do not like talking to the comments. Yeah, I agree with you, James. If there was evidence, there will be no need for faith. If there was evidence, there will be no need for faith. All right, y'all. So the rules of my live is I do not like to talk to the comments. If you leave a comment that's disagreeable, or you say that you don't if you disagree with what I have on the board, or if you say something about there is evidence for God, et cetera, I'm just gonna go ahead and invite you up because I don't like talking to comments. Milkman, how's it going?
All right, how you doing?
I'm all right. Are you over 18? Because I think you disagree with what I have on the board, correct?
56.
All right, cool. I do not think there's any evidence for God. You said that I am the evidence for God. How is that?
How aren't you?
The reason why I'm not is there's no evidence that I am in the first place. You're the one who made the claim that I am. So the reason why I'd say I am not, because we already have explanations for how humanity got here, like evolution, things like that.
So where's your evidence that you're not God, that you're not God's child?
My evidence that I'm not God's child?
That's right.
I don't have any evidence to say that I am.
You don't have any evidence to say you're not.
Yeah, because
So how can you say that?
the evidence, the reason there are explanations, like natural explanations for how humanity got here. There are natural explanations for my existence. So because of that, there's no.
So where's your evidence that you're not?
As I said, there's no reasons for me to believe that I am.
You're saying a lot of things, but you're not telling me the evidence that you're not.
Are you understanding that if you're making a claim that I am, you have to go ahead and prove the evidence of that claim? Me rejecting your claim. Hold on, Milk. No.
There's not.
Yeah, I'm the one making the claim that there's no good.
Not.
I made a claim that there is no good evidence for a God.
Receipts.
You said that I'm the evidence for a God, so now you have to tell me how that's good evidence. No, you have to tell me.
Your grass,
Okay,
Bugs
look
Bunny.
at the trees. So what?
That's all created by God.
Okay, how do you prove that?
Now, how do you not prove it?
No. You're the one who made the claim, so you have to prove it.
You're the one making the claim. Don't you understand that? You're the one in public right now with a banner behind you saying there's no good evidence for God. Where's your proof?
All right. So
Where's
nature
your proof?
nature is not good. Hold on, Ronnie. Nature is not good evidence for a God because
you look like Lil Bill. You look like Lil Bill, nigga.
All right,
bald
appreciate
as shit,
you.
nigga. You bald as fuck. Shut the dumb.
Yeah, and the reason why I'm bald is because I ate your mom's pussy last night and she really liked it. So the evidence that I'm not is that we have natural. The evidence that I'm not. The evidence that I'm not. The evidence that I'm not. The evidence that I'm not is that we have natural explanations for everything around us. We have natural explanations. There's no need for the supernatural. So if there's no need for the supernatural, why would I take the supernatural explanation?
You're still not proving it.
Yeah, that is proof. The lack of evidence. The lack of evidence. I didn't make a claim. We do have natural evidence. We do have natural explanations for everything around us. So if we have natural explanations, if we have natural explanations for the things around us, I'm gonna need you to be quiet. If we have natural explanation, I'm gonna need you to be quiet. If we have natural explanation, I'm gonna need you to be quiet. If we have natural explanations, yes, I invited you up for us to have a discussion, but if you keep cutting me off, I'm just gonna move on. If we have natural explanations for what's around us, we do not need a supernatural explanation. So you're the one saying that there is a supernatural explanation. You have to have to go ahead and prove that. The natural explanations for things around us are things like planetary formation, botany, geology, cosmology, physics, chemistry. All of these things are lines of evidence that what we see around us are natural formations. If you have evidence for a supernatural formation, that these things cannot have come together without a God, you have to then prove it. Saying that it's beautiful, therefore God, is not evidence of that. Does that make sense, Milk? You can go ahead and come off mute. All right. So Protech, how's it going?
How you doing? Blessed, can't complain.
Not a problem, Protech. All right, Protech, are you over 18 and do you disagree with what I have on the board?
Yes.
All right, cool. Why do you? I don't think that there's any good evidence that that a God exists. Why do you think that there is?
Well, I say it like this. I can't prove God, but only God can prove himself. If that makes sense.
Okay, so why does he?
You said, why does he?
Why doesn't he?
He do. It's just that people don't accept him. That's all.
No, that's not the case, because if Jesus, I mean, or not Jesus actually, if God proved himself, then I would have accepted it. So if
I say it like this. I know personally that God is real. Personally, God proved himself to me that he lived by his spirit. God is a spirit. He's not natural. He's a spirit. So people don't understand is that when people say that God is not real, they want to see evidence. But only evidence I can say is that I can say it is only God can prove himself. And people trying to prove God, nobody can prove God on this planet. Nobody can. And
okay, so if it can't be proven, why should I believe it?
well, so believing is trust. So in other words, so just because I believe doesn't mean I know. I know there's a God. You see what I'm saying? It's a difference.
Okay, so if you know there's a God, how do you then prove it?
Only God proved himself. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna put it in this order. So I said like this. I didn't know there was a God, but of course we have doubts. But once again, is that when I was going through something in 2019, I went through something that was supernatural, as they say.
Okay,
And
what was it?
spiritual. The Holy Spirit, the Holy Ghost is real. So
Okay, how do you show that? How do you prove that?
I can't prove it.
Okay, so if you can't prove it, why do you believe it if you can't prove it?
I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you why I know that is real. The only reason why I know that is real because I experienced it for myself.
Okay, let me ask you a question. My grandmother experienced the Haitian voodoo god Shango. Is the Haitian voodoo god Shango real?
If she believed that, but I don't believe in that stuff.
I understand that you don't believe it, but you're saying that you experienced it, therefore it's real. She experienced Shango. Shango's real?
For if she experienced that part, she can testify that. But I can't testify that because I never experienced it. So what I'm saying, I know what I experienced, who God is. You see what I'm saying? So
Right.
So
The problem that I'm saying is, okay, let me ask you this question, a clarifying question then. Which God do you believe in? Is it the Christian version, the Muslim version, the Shinto version? Which one?
there's only one God.
Okay, which one is it?
The God that's alive, the God that's living. I say people say the Christian version. I believe that God. There's only one God, one true living God.
Okay, cool. What I'm saying is that my grandmother experienced other gods. So why should I accept your version of God and not hers?
So okay, I say it like this. So if she experienced other God, I put it this way. So what she's doing, that's called idol worship. So
How come she's doing idol worship and you're not?
because I'm gonna tell you what's the difference. I'm gonna tell you what's the difference between idol worship and one true living God. So put it this way: if I say this, if I worship you, I'm making you an idol. In other words, I'm bowed down to you. So basically, you are a false. Watch this. You are a false deity. In other words, what I mean, you are a false. You are a false. People say, I'm gonna say this like you are a false God, which meaning as you're not real. In other words, because like I say, is that I only praise only one God.
But the thing is, you just said that if you worship something that you're making an idol, you worship Jesus, don't you? Don't you make him idol? Didn't you make him idol too?
So I said like this. So if anybody that worship other than the true living God, they making other gods an idol. It's because
Wait, the question I'm asking is, why is that one the true God and not the other ones?
because that I'm gonna put it this way. When you read this, have you read it before? They said they don't have no other God before me. Do you believe that?
Just because it's in a book doesn't make it true.
So okay, I'll put it to you like this: if anybody that's worship other than the one true living God, I'm gonna tell you. I said like this: that's called Once again, that's idol. That's blasphemy. That's like put it this way. That's like putting the mule before the wagon. So
Here's the thing, Protect. I understand that this is in the book, but just because it's in the book doesn't make it true.
okay, so I'll say it like this. So in order for you to believe that God is real, you have to have faith.
Okay, but faith is not a reliable pathway to truth, is it?
Yes, it is.
Okay, if faith is a reliable pathway to truth, then my grandmother was telling me the truth, that Shango was the one true God because she had faith in that.
Okay, so who is Shango? Where is he at?
Shango is beyond space and time. He's in another dimension. He's in the ancestral plane.
So is that same God is in heaven? Like,
Give me a
like,
second.
you
Give me a second. I'm going to need y'all to mute when y'all come up here, please, because like it's very, very distracting. All right. So what I'm saying is that, for example, you said that where is that God, right? That God is in the ancestral plane, just like Jesus is in heaven, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
How do we show that?
have you seen before?
How do we show that heaven or the ancestral plane even exists?
I can't show you heaven exists. This is a spiritual existence.
Okay. So how do you know it's true?
What the heaven is that live? That heaven is true?
Yeah.
Because it's been proven to me.
All right, and it's been proven to my grandmother that the ancestral plane where I see all my ancestors also exist. So, this is what I'm saying. These are counter claims, and we could just keep going back and forth and saying, oh, well, this one, or this one. How do we know any of them are actually true?
I know. Well, I put it this way. I know that what God showed me personally that is true because I can witness that because I went through it. In other words, I experienced it.
Okay.
Like
I experienced Olodumare, the god of West African Yoruba religion. That one's real too?
So okay, if you experienced it, tell me what happened.
Well, what happened is that this god Yoruba told me that because black people are the most wonderful people on the planet, I'm going to go ahead and bless you like thousands and thousands of more time, and therefore I became bald, and that's how I became my spiritual Yoruba self. Does any of that make sense?
No.
Exactly. So when you tell me the same thing that I experienced God because Jesus and or whatever, that doesn't make sense to me either. It's all just stories.
So basically, I say it like this. Once again, so in order for you to believe, you have to. And I say it like this. A lot of people believe, correct? But it's the difference between believing and knowing. So if you know you're a man, in other words, is there evidence?
Yeah, there's evidence I'm a man because not only do I identify with the male gender, but I have the chromosomes and I have the experience and like everything that I do as I operate in this society is what we assign to man. So therefore, I can prove I'm a man.
Okay, so that's evidence, correct?
Yeah, that's evidence.
Okay,
So what evidence?
So can I say this? So if God proves himself to me, is that evidence for me? Is that
Yeah,
proof
it's
for me?
yeah, sure. It's personal. It's a personal evidence. It's a personal anecdote. What I'm saying is that anecdotes aren't data.
I never said that. What I'm saying is that I'm talking about far as evidence, proof. That's not my whole point. So if God proves himself to me that he lived by his spirit, is in other words, is that evidence?
No, that's hearsay. Evidence
how?
would be something that's demonstrable. Evidence is something
Well,
that you can. Evidence is something that you will be able to show me.
So if hear what I'm saying, please hear what I'm saying.
Go ahead.
If God proved himself to me that he lived, is that evidence to me? In other words, what I'm saying is that evidence for me? To
No,
know?
that's just an experience. It's not evidence.
How's
Because
that evidence?
evidence is a very specific example. Evidence is something that's demonstrable and demonstrable. If you can't demonstrate or demonstrably show it, then it's not evidence. It's just hearsay.
Okay, so to you, watch it. To you might be hearsay, but to me, it's not.
No, it's completely hearsay because you can't show it to me. So it's hearsay.
Well, right. To you it is, but to me, it's not because I experienced it.
Right. It's your experience.
Right.
But something that's experienced to you automatically becomes hearsay. Because I can't.
How?
You can't transfer your experience to me, can you?
No, it's impossible. But what I'm
All
saying
right.
is
So
that,
what I'm saying is that the way that we use evidence, the word evidence, unless you're changing the definition, but the way that we use the word evidence is something that's demonstrable, something that's tangible, something that we can show others. If you can't do that, then it's hearsay. Evidence, personal evidence, is automatically hearsay to everybody else. It's not evidence anymore.
But I understand what you're saying. But although hearsay can be true, correct?
Can hearsay be true? Hearsay can be true.
it
Yeah.
can, right. So although it can be true to you, but what I'm saying, although evidence can be put it this way. Although hearsay can be hearsay to you, but if I receive, watch this, if I receive $1 and $1 is evidence, is that proof? Of course it is. So it's the same God that created the whole wide world, that created all of us, and he showed me that he lived by his spirit. He showed me. Other words, what I mean by show me, other words, he proved it to me. There it is. So I received it.
You know what's the problem? You know what? Do you know what's the problem with your analogy?
You said what?
There's a problem with your analogy.
What's the problem?
You can show me $1.
Yeah.
You can't show me your God.
Of course. Once again, I can't. I told you I can't prove God. That's what I say. I can't prove God.
Exactly. So
right.
if it cannot be proven, why should anyone believe it?
Well, so basically, you're gonna tell me, in other words, it can be proven. In other words, then don't believe it. So basically, you saying, in other words, in your analogy, other words, in your theme, you saying that, far as I can't prove it to you, I'm not gonna believe it. I ain't trying to prove it to you. I can't prove it to you though.
Right. So that's why I said there's no good evidence for a God.
I can say it like this. Put it this way. I bet God can prove it up to you. I bet he can.
Okay. How come he hasn't then?
You said how come? Because you probably never asked.
I have. I was a Christian for 20 years, my friend.
So why you stop?
I stopped because there was no evidence.
So okay. Let me say this: is light the evidence?
Is light the evidence?
Yes.
No, light is photons.
So it's not evidence that it's shown.
No, light is not evidence of God. Light is evidence of photons.
So I mean, let me ask you the question again: is the light the evidence to show? In other words, the proof, right? Is it proof? Is it showing?
Showing of what?
The light.
Is light the evidence of light?
Yes.
No, photons are evidence of light.
So okay. Let me ask you this question then, since you want to say no. What's the opposite of dark? Light, correct?
Yeah.
So if the only way you can see your shadow if you're in the light, correct?
Only way I can see my shadows if I'm in the light. Yeah.
So basically, can light show darkness?
Can light show darkness?
Yes.
I'm not even sure if that question even makes sense.
Okay. Let me go a little deeper to you. Let me go a little deeper. I say it like this. Once again, you said yeah. I said the only way to see your shadow only if in the light, correct?
Yeah, if you shine a light on something, yeah, you can see a shadow, sure.
But okay. Why is that though? Can light show darkness?
No, because darkness is the absence of light.
So if once again, first you said yeah, then turn around you said no. So think about what you just said, sir. Can light show darkness?
No, because light is the darkness is the absence of light. I'm not sure what you're asking, bro.
Hear me out, please hear me out. Have an open ear to listen. That's what I'm saying. I asked you. I said the only way to see your shadow only if in the light, correct?
The only way to see your shadow is if light is if light is showing on you. Yeah, because your figure, your body is blocking light and it creates a shadow.
So light can show darkness.
Light cannot show darkness because darkness is the absence of light. Your shadow is not just darkness. What are we talking about?
Can you see my shadow, bro? Can you
No,
see
I
my
can't.
shadow?
I can see your shadow.
Is that evidence?
Evidence of what?
Darkness. Of my shadow. My shadow.
Is your shadow evidence of darkness?
Other words, is my can you see my shadow, correct? Can you see my shadow?
I can see your shadow, yeah.
So in other words, light have to show darkness to shadow, correct?
No, we can still see darkness. You realize that, right? If we
Why?
go outside at the proper time, there will be darkness.
But answer this question. Why do light show darkness? Why?
Why does light show darkness?
Understand
What are you
I'm
asking
saying?
me?
Why? Well, listen what I'm
Hold
saying.
on. No. Get to your point, because I don't even understand this line of questioning.
So as I was saying was is that the opposite of light is darkness, correct? So what I'm saying, only light can show what is, in other words, the shadow, which is dark, it's black. So but darkness can't show light.
So
Correct? But what I'm saying is that you said light is not the evidence of light. Yes, it is. It's shown.
no,
It's evidence.
it's not.
It's proof.
Light is not the evidence of light,
Why it's not?
because that's redundant.
Brother. So
What are you trying to say, bro?
My
Like, I
point,
don't understand what
my
you're trying
point,
to say.
it's going over your head, sir. My point
There is nothing going
is,
over my head because there's no point. What are you trying to
yes, it is.
say?
Once again, my point is the light show, or my point is the light can watch it. The light is evidence. It is evidence. It's
Evidence
evidence.
of what? Evidence of a God?
No, brother. Understand what I just said. The light is the evidence of light. It's shown itself, correct? You said
Light
no.
is evidence of light. No,
It
that's
is.
redundant.
How is redundant, sir?
Evidence of light is photons. That's how we know what light is.
Oh my God.
We can examine photons.
But is the light is shown though?
Yeah, we can see light
Why?
because we have eyes. What are you
No.
trying to ask me, bro?
No. Just because you
I
got
ask a
eyes doesn't mean you can see. You can be in darkness. You can be blind. Make it make sense.
All right. So I appreciate you, Pro Tech. All right, we're gonna go ahead and move on. I appreciate everybody who's on the board. All right, y'all. We got 149 people in here, 4.6K likes. I do appreciate y'all. We're gonna go ahead and keep on trucking. Like I said, y'all, for the first hour, we're gonna go one-on-one, and then after that, we're gonna go ahead and do a panel. If you are watching me over on YouTube, I appreciate you. Shout out to Tahir. Shout out to Mr. Ethical. Shout out to Pro Listener. You said that you're a Muslim. Cool, all that is good and well. You can come over to TikTok. I can't do the video ninja right now, so go ahead and come over to TikTok if you can. Cindy, you are next, and then after that, I'm gonna go to Wild Tarzan. We're gonna see how long that goes, and then we'll go ahead and do the panel. Cindy, how's it going? Are you over 18, and do you disagree with what I have on the board? Cindy, you there? Cindy, are you there? Well, I hear something in the background, but I'm not hearing any person talk. All right, Cindy, you have to talk. You don't just say yes. Okay, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Now I can hear you. Okay, great.
I didn't think I could do that.
Not a problem. All right, so are you over 18, and do you disagree with what I have on the board?
Yes, I'm over 18, and I disagree with what's on the board.
All right, great. I don't think that there is evidence for a God. We can talk for 15 minutes. Why do you think there is?
Because of all that he created, all that he has created, the universe.
For all that he has created, can you prove to me that something created the universe?
Somebody had to, so what couldn't it be him?
All right, why does the universe have to be created by some sort of supernatural agent and not be like a natural force that we don't understand yet?
Because it's the only universe with people living in it.
We don't know that yet because this is the only universe that we have.
There's no such thing as UFOs or aliens.
We don't know that either. There could be.
But just people being on this earth is enough evidence.
Yeah,
Because nobody else can create man.
Yeah, there are people on this earth. Humanity exists on this.
They can only create
I got
robots.
you. I understand. I got you. There are people on this earth where we understand that humanity exists, but the existence of humanity doesn't show that we're some special thing that was created by some supernatural force. We just could be a natural byproduct.
We are special.
How are we special?
Because we are. Nobody else can create man.
That doesn't really answer the question.
I
How are we
mean,
special?
they can study us, but they can't make one.
What do you mean? They've made synthetic cells in a lab before.
Yeah, but they can't put them together like God did to make a man.
We actually can. We just don't have the technology yet.
Only God has that technology.
How do you know a God exists?
Just like I said, because of what he's created.
That's a circular argument. You're saying that God exists because things are created, and then when I ask you how do you know things are created, you said God exists. That's a circular argument.
I just believe that he exists.
I understand that you believe
all
that.
that he's created.
I understand that you believe that he exists, but you're assigning the existence of the universe as a creation. What I'm saying is that how do you know that? What I'm asking is, I understand that the Bible says that, but that's because it's in the Bible doesn't make it true.
Well, God wrote the Bible.
How do you know that?
because he says so
Where?
in the Bible.
You spoke to God, and okay, so the Bible is true because the Bible said it's true.
Because God said so in the Bible.
Okay, my grandmother said that Haitian voodoo is true. Should I just believe her?
If you've seen it really happen,
Yeah, plenty of people have seen Haitian voodoo actually happen. Does that make it real?
yeah, if it actually happened,
Oh, okay, so cool. So you should go ahead and convert to Olodumare, the Black of our salvation. You're gonna go ahead and
who in the world is that?
Olodumare is the god of West African Yoruba religion.
Oh, I don't think so.
Oh
I'm
no,
not gonna.
you should
I'm
convert to him
not going to
because
hell.
no, you should convert to him because the people of the Yoruba tribe of Nigeria, they said that one is real, and they
I'm
know
not
that
going
it's
to do that.
and they know that it's real because their ancestors said that it's real. It's the
Well,
same
I'm
logic
not
you're
going to
using.
do anything that's against God, and all that stuff is against God, and I'm not doing it
It's not against God. Why is African religion against God?
because God don't like all that.
God doesn't like Africans?
He don't like the voodoo stuff.
Why not? He created it.
He don't even like for you to read your horoscope
No, God,
or
God,
to, or
God,
to
God
read tarot cards.
no, God created the African religions because the African religions were around first, so God created it.
No, he created the people first.
Yeah, and they came up with that religion, which
Yeah,
means that
they did that.
if they God created the people first. God created Africans, and Africans were the first people on this planet, and those African religions were the first traditions on this planet. Therefore, those are the ones that are first, and they're the ones that's real. So praise Olodumare, the Black of our salvation. Go ahead and
I
convert
don't
to
think
African
so.
religion now.
That's like Satan worship.
Why is a black god Satan?
I'm not saying a black god is Satan. I'm saying that voodoo stuff is.
No, it's not. It was around before Christianity.
I don't think so.
Yeah, it was. You realize there are religions older than Christianity. Hey, W, y'all. Thank you for let me hit my goal. You do know that there are religions around before Christianity, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, Hinduism.
pagan religions.
Yeah, Hinduism, pagan religions, West African voodoo. Those were around way like
That's
Orisha
pagan
worship.
religions.
Yeah, all that was around before Christianity. So
It's all pagan
right.
religions.
So all those were around before Christianity. So why aren't those true?
I think all pagan religions are true, but they're not. God don't like them.
If God doesn't like them, how come he didn't go there himself? How come he chose this group of people, this illiterate goat herders in the Levant, to say that this is the real one? How come he just didn't go somewhere else?
He destroyed the world because of all that stuff with the flood.
Oh, when did the flood happen?
Long time ago.
How many thousands of years did the flood happen?
A couple of thousand.
A couple of thousand? Are you gonna say like 6?
No.
5?
No, more like 4.
About 4,000?
Yeah.
4,000 years ago, the Egyptians were around.
Right.
4,000 years ago, the Chinese were around. The Indus Valley Civilization was around.
Well, the
Aksum was
flood
around.
killed everybody on
Greece
Earth.
was around. Right, but like what I'm saying is that 4,000 years ago, there were civilizations that existed before that, during that, and after that, with no records of a flood.
There is records of the flood. And
Okay,
all
if there were,
different,
if there are records of the,
races.
if there are records of the flood, how come the Chinese civilization goes back 6,000 years uninterrupted? That's 2,000 years before you said the flood happened.
I was guessing about 4,000 years.
Okay, so did it happen 5,000 years ago?
No, it's maybe 2,000 or 3,000.
2 or
But I know it
3,000 years ago.
happened.
Okay, 3,000 years ago, the Romans were around.
But they died too in the flood.
The Romans did not die in the flood.
Yeah, everybody on Earth died in the flood.
All right, but you said it was 3,000 years ago. The Romans were around in 3,000 years ago. They didn't
The
die in
only
the flood.
people that survived the flood was Noah and his family.
There were people
Nobody
around
else.
3,000 years ago.
Yeah, Jesus was.
Right, so the flood couldn't have happened 3,000 years ago.
I'm just guessing. I'd have to go
Okay.
to my Bible and bring it up.
All right, great. So the flood never happened.
Yeah, the
That's one
flood did
thing.
happen.
Okay, so when did it happen then?
2 or 3,000 years ago, maybe
Right, but
4,000.
that's not possible because 3,000, 4,000 years ago, there were civilizations around,
And the
uninterrupted.
flood killed all of them.
It didn't though, because like there were people around. Okay, this is what I'm saying. 6,000 years ago, the Indus Valley civilization and the Chinese civilization were around. They're around 6,000 years ago, 5,000, 4,000, 3,000, 2,000, uninterrupted, meaning they have no record of them breaking their civilization up, right? So if the Chinese civilization was around 6,000 years ago, then that means that the flood cannot have happened earlier, like later than 6,000 years ago, because we know the Chinese were around for all that time.
Yes, the flood did happen.
Okay,
Is
so
there
the question,
scientific proof
no, there
by
really isn't.
geologists,
No, there isn't.
people who study the earth?
No, there isn't.
Yeah, there's proof that the flood did happen.
Well, okay, what proof do we have?
You're going to have to go to the scientific book.
Yeah, I have been to the scientific books, and they say that there's no evidence of this happening.
Yes, there is.
Okay,
You
what is
gotta
it
look,
then?
like the Colorado, the Grand Canyon's proof.
The Grand Canyon is not proof.
Yeah, the Grand Canyon is proof that the flood did happen.
We know how the Grand
Because
Canyon
that's why
happened.
the
and
Grand
it's not-
Canyon was made by the flood.
No, it wasn't. Are you trolling me right now, Cindy?
Do what?
Are you trolling me right now?
What do you mean trolling?
Like you're not being serious?
I am serious.
You're being serious. Okay, if you are being serious, then you would know that the Grand Canyon is not evidence of any type of flood.
Oh, yes, it is. The flood carved it out.
All right. All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all for being here. We got 6.9K likes, 179 people in here. Let's go ahead and keep it rolling, keep it trucking. I appreciate everyone being here. All right, well, Tarzan going to be up next. I just got to take a quick commercial break. Y'all, I do have a subscription goal. Right now, I have 8 people in the subscription box. My goal is 10. If you like what I do and you'd like to support me, go ahead and subscribe to me, please. It only costs $2.99, less than a chicken a month. Please go ahead and subscribe to me. I appreciate y'all. I do have a YouTube. The link is in my bio. Volsi Thoughts, the same thing as my screen name here. Shout out to everyone who's watching me over on YouTube. Tahir, Ethical, Dong Dong, Jin, you guys are amazing. I appreciate y'all watching to me over on YouTube. Shout out to the Deconstruction Zone YouTube, everyone watching me over there. Blaster Master, I appreciate you. Ligma, I appreciate you. Thank you for watching me over there as well. All right, y'all, we're gonna go ahead and keep on trucking. Remember, I do have a YouTube channel, so if you'd like to view some of these highlights, you can go ahead. All right, we're gonna go into Wild Tarzan. The Brandon is after, and then Shimino is gonna be after that. After I get through all my one-on-one guests, we're then gonna go ahead and move on to a panel. So if you want to go ahead and stay for that, go ahead and stay around. Betty, if you think that I am wrong, go ahead and come on up. I'm going to invite you. Wild Tarzan, how are you doing? Are you over 18? And do you disagree with what I have on the board?
Hey, yeah, brother. How you doing? I kind of do disagree.
Just to let you know, you are very, very low. I'm not sure if you are muffled or something like that, but or you're on headphones, but you're very low.
Oh, I am on headphones. Is this a little better?
That is a little better, but I'm not sure if everyone's going to be able to hear you, but we can still try to go ahead and have a discussion. You said that you do kind of disagree with me?
Yeah, I try to speak a little louder. Yeah, I do.
All right, great.
Not
Why
with
is
you personally, but with the text on the board.
All right, great. What evidence do you think that there is of a God?
There's a lot of evidence. I think imperial evidence. It might not be evidence to you, but there's scholars that's done work that shows there's been evidence. Can I prove it personally? No, I will have to go pull up a whole laptop, out of which I don't have. I just have my phone right now.
Okay, which scholars say that there's evidence of any of this? I mean, let me ask this question, actually. Let me clarify. Evidence of what exactly?
Of a God.
of a God.
Of a God, right?
Existence of a God. Okay, which scholars have said that there's existence of evidence of a God? Because there's evidence of existence of religious figures such as Muhammad, such as Jesus, such as the Buddha. Religious figures, even Shango, the one that I was mentioning earlier with the last woman. There's evidence of religious figures, but when it comes to an actual God, what evidence do we have of that?
Okay. Before I answer, do you believe in the Bible?
No.
Okay, so it's gonna be harder for me to even prove that.
I
All
mean, the
right.
Bible is fine, but the Bible is much more historical fiction than it is an actual, like evidentiary book. Like, sure,
Yeah, but it
we can
depends
look into the
on.
Bible, like we can look
It
into the
depends.
Bible and see like historical events, but that doesn't prove that the events the way that it explains the events are actually supernatural.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It would be harder for me to prove it by using the Bible if you don't really believe in it. Because me personally, I believe in the Bible, so I take what the word says at face value. Like it's value to me.
Right.
So
I'm asking
it's
the question that I would ask is why would you do that?
because I believe in that.
You see how that's circular?
Yeah, but I subscribe to that. So, it's like what you was mentioning about the Shango thing. I can't say your grandmother is wrong for believing in that because the Bible also says there's many gods. So if she believes in their God in her Haitian religion. I cannot disprove of that. What
Let
I
me
can
ask you.
say is that I
Okay.
can't subscribe to that because my God clearly states that that will be idol worshiping.
Okay. Why is your God right and her God is wrong?
I don't, like I said, her God is not wrong to me. I wouldn't say her God is wrong because, like I said, there's evidence in the Bible that says that there are gods, there are other gods. So
But
I can't say
her
that what
God,
she believes in is wrong.
right? But her God would be idol worship to you, is what you said.
Yeah, because that's what my God said. Anything I have to believe
Right.
in Him
So
and Him only.
I got you. So what I'm asking is, when your God says that her God is idol worship, why do you believe him? What if he's lying?
Because I believe He's the one true God for us. He is
Wh-
the like let's say there's many
Why
gods
is he the
because
one
it's
true God and
fractions.
not what my grandmother says?
That's what
Because
I'm
he said
saying.
so.
Yes, because that's
All
what
right.
I
Do you
believe in.
do you
To me,
not see the problem there?
no.
Okay. So you don't see the problem with some book written by goat herders 2,000 years ago saying that this is the one true God, believe it, and therefore you just believe it off face value.
Okay, so if you're saying that goat herders wrote a book, how did a book that goat herders wrote end up in our judicial system? And if you go to court to testify, you have to put your hand on that same book.
No,
You
you do not.
cannot tell the laws,
No, you
hey,
do not.
I
You don't
don't
have to do that.
believe in this book.
You don't. You
I,
can
I
do
don't
that.
want to use it.
Yes, you can do that.
Really, I have not seen a case of
The
that, so
first.
I have
What is
to
the
check
First
that
Amendment?
out.
What does the First Amendment say?
I'm not too sure, but
The
I have to
First
look it
Amendment
up.
gives you freedom of religion. If you're saying that a Muslim goes to court in American law, they have to put their hand on the Bible, even if they're a Muslim.
Well, that's what I've been seeing. I haven't seen anything other.
Bro,
If you're
the
gonna
reason,
testify,
bro, hold on, fam. I used to work in for a lawyer. What you're saying is untrue. You do not have to put your hand on the Bible.
okay, well maybe I'm false with that, but I haven't seen otherwise. I'll have to
You're
look into it
100%
for that.
wrong. You're 100% wrong because that will violate freedom of religion.
But that's still in itself. You're saying the goat herders wrote that book, but it's still a big pillar in our society today. So
It's a big
you
pillar in our
default.
society
Wait,
today
wait,
because of
wait,
things
my
like. Go
brother,
ahead.
my brother. You
Go ahead. Go ahead.
still, you still, by saying that goat herders wrote that book, and it's being used today in our society, it still governs our system today as law.
Okay, which law?
That's a little
Which law?
far fetched,
Which
right?
which law? No, it's not far fetched. That's number one. But the second thing that I would say is that you're incorrect. Which law in America comes from the Bible?
I would say thou shalt not kill, but if you kill
That does
someone,
not come from the Bible.
it doesn't come from the Bible.
Right. It doesn't come from the Bible because what is the majority religion in India?
You said what?
What is the majority religion in India?
The majority religion?
Yeah, in India. What is it?
I would say Hindu, maybe. I guess.
Right. Do you know what they have in their laws?
What do they have in their laws?
Laws against
No, I
killing.
haven't read the
Hold on,
no.
hold on, Hindu. I'm sorry, Tarzan. In India, the majority religion is Hindu. In their laws, they also have laws against killing. Hinduism is older than Christianity. So obviously, the rules against killing are not Christian based. They're in every single society.
That's hearsay though. Is that
It is not
proven? Is that
hearsay. We
fact?
know Christianity, we know that Hinduism is older than Christianity because we know when Christianity began. Christianity
Okay, we
began
do
about
know when
2,000 years
Christianity
ago.
began, but you still have to take in consideration of the Dead Sea Scrolls,
Appreciate
which
it.
were way older than the Bible. So
Hinduism is older than that.
we have to leave Christianity out of it.
Bro,
Because
hold
I'm
on.
not a
Listen,
Christian.
Tarzan, listen to what I just said. Hinduism is older than the Dead Sea Scrolls. It's the oldest religion.
I don't believe
And
that
they,
personally, but you
I
can
know you don't believe that
have that
personally,
way.
but if you don't, the thing is, if you don't believe that personally, you're literally just denying reality. Like literally just denying reality. Hinduism goes back almost 5,000 to 6,000 years. You understand that, right?
That we've heard that. Yes, that's there to substantiate. Yes,
Yeah,
I've heard that.
and they've substantiated it because we know that there are Hindu scripts, and Sanskrit goes back around that time too. Sanskrit is one of the earliest written languages, along with Chinese, along with traditional Chinese. It's one of the earliest written languages, right? So, like, if we know how old all that stuff is, and we know Christianity came into being around 2 to 3,000 years ago, around after the death of Jesus, then we know that Hinduism is older than Christianity. In the Dead Sea Scrolls, which are about 2,000 years old, if Sanskrit is 5,000 years old, that means that Sanskrit in Hinduism is older than the Dead Sea Scrolls. So, like, your entire tradition is pretty new onto the scene. There are religions that existed way before that. So how come? And they had rules against killing too. So obviously, that type of morality does not necessarily come from Christianity, because there are people who existed before Christianity. There are societies that existed before Christianity that had rules against killing.
Okay, that's a lot of information to take in. But at the same time, you still have to. Why is it that the religion that the practice of what's going on right now is more biblical from the Bible and not from Sanskrit? If that's what you're saying is fact,
Because we live in
why
the
are the
West, right? Because we live in the West, and about 1,000, I would say about maybe 2,500 years ago, Constantine of the Roman Empire made Christianity the majority religion, and ever since then, Europe became Christian, and European colonialism went across the planet to colonize everybody, and they encouraged them all to be Christian.
yeah,
It's
but
literally due to colonialism.
we all have freedom and free will. So why doesn't the majority of the Western, which come from a lot of people come from different places, why don't they study and take on that as a religion since that's been here for ages?
The
Why do
reason the
why
reason why they the reason why they
why
don't
are
is
only
the
the
same reason.
Hindus practicing that?
The reason they're not the only ones, but the reason why they don't is because what
They're
you
the
believe.
majority though.
Yeah, I know Christianity is the majority. I'm explaining.
No, not Christianity. I'm saying the people that follow that book,
Hey,
they're
appreciate
the
that
majority.
subscriber.
The
Right.
Hindus.
All right. Yeah. The people who like what I'm saying is that the reason why Christianity is the
Do
majority
you
religion in
believe
the
in
West
that
right
book?
now.
I didn't even ask you that.
Tarzan, let me explain, bro. The reason why Christianity is the majority religion in the West right now is literally only due to colonialism. And because of colonialism and because of cultural pressure, that's why people remain Christian today. If you were born in India, you will probably be Hindu. If you were born in Pakistan, you will probably be Muslim. It all has to do with where you were born. All it is cultural pressure and colonialism. That's all it is. Just because it's popular doesn't make it true.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying also. That's because that's what I'm saying. If their book is substantiated and it's ages old, why isn't the majority of the world following that book? And it's just practiced by Hindus mostly.
Because of colonialism. I already said this.
Well, we can't say that because what about
We can say
the
that. That's
what
literally
about
that's
what
literally the
about the
reason.
Ethiopians? They use the Bible, and they're not in the West.
Because Christianity was created in the Levant, and the Levant and Ethiopia are right next to each other. So yeah, it spread there quicker. What I'm saying is that if you look at how Christianity spread, it spread out throughout the age of discovery, the so-called age of discovery of Europeans. That's how it spread around. So Christianity didn't just pop up out of nowhere in America because it just popped up. Like the Europeans spread it around. That's why it's popular, because of colonialism, not because of anything else.
I don't believe that, but I have to take.
Then how do you explain the fact that it became popular right after colonialism?
I don't know, but I don't hold dear
It's
to that
because of
fact that
colonialism, bro.
colonialism.
Like the evidence is right in front of you. It's because of colonialism. If it wasn't because of colonialism, it would have spread without it.
Talking about the
Okay, so
Crusades.
Hold on, Wixers. It's not your turn yet.
so then basically from what you're saying, it's like the whole world or half of the world is basically just
Colonized.
being led by false narrative
Yes.
without they're not under subjection. They don't have to, so they're just lamb to slaughter in your minds, in your eyes, right?
What do you mean lambs to slaughter? What are you talking about?
Because you're saying they're following this mythological notion,
Mm-hmm.
which you're saying the Sanskrits are the oldest to this date, and
Yeah.
it's subjugated.
I didn't say it was subjugated.
Not subjugated. I'm sorry. It's what's the word I'm trying to say? Like it's proven. It's factual.
I didn't say Hindu was. I didn't say that was
It's
factual.
substantiated.
I didn't say it was substantiated. You have to listen to what I'm
You
saying,
did
bro. This
say
is
it
what
was
I'm saying. No, I
substantiated.
didn't. No, I didn't. I said it's substantiated that it is the oldest. You said that you don't believe that it's the oldest. I said that
That's what
it
I
is
said.
substantiated.
That's what I'm saying. It's proven that it's
Yeah,
substantiated the oldest.
it is the
So
oldest.
that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Why isn't because of colonialism? You're saying that we all practice this thing, but why is it that we have this book that is the oldest, right? Why is the world following that book? There's something wrong with that book that they're not following. It's not just because of colonialism.
No, there's nothing wrong with the book, bro. It's not. It's not because there's
Have
something
you
wrong
read
with the
the book?
book. What? But the Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah, the Bhagavad
Not,
Gita.
not all of it. It's very hard to read. But what I'm
Do you
saying is
believe
that,
in what you read?
bro, Tarzan, can I actually like have a
No, we're
conversation with you?
dialoguing, bro.
When
Just asking me
yeah,
question, I'm
because
answering.
whenever I'm answering a question, you interrupt whenever I'm trying to answer.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, brother. Go ahead.
All right. I haven't read all the Bhagavad Gita because it's very hard to read, right? But what I'm saying is that all of these religious traditions, Christianity, Hinduism, Islam, all of them have never proven their claims. That's number one. So I don't believe any of them. So that's number one. But the second thing that I would say is just because yours is more popular doesn't mean that another one is wrong. That doesn't make any
No,
sense.
yeah, very, very. I agree with that. I agree.
All right. So Christianity being the most popular one in the planet right now, and the only reason why that is because of colonialism, does not make it true. You would actually have to show how Christianity is true first.
Well, I don't believe in Christianity because I'm not a Christian, but I believe in the Bible. If that makes sense to you.
Is Jesus your Lord and personal Savior?
Yes.
You are a Christian, friend.
No,
All
I'm
righty.
not. 'Cause
That'll be it for Wild Tarzan. We're at the 15-minute mark. All right. Once again, I do appreciate everyone being here. Kay, I do see your request. I'm going to bring you up when it's the panel. We're going to go ahead and do maybe about, I'll say 20, 25 more minutes. And then we're going to go ahead and get to the panel. I appreciate y'all. Remember, y'all, I do have a YouTube. The link is in my bio. YouTube is Volsi Thoughts. We have 9K likes, 89 people in here. Let's try to get us to 15K likes, y'all. Please try to get us to 15K likes. I would appreciate that if y'all would do that, please. Get us to 15K likes. Subscribe to my YouTube. I appreciate the person who just subscribed. Go ahead and drop those emojis. You could go ahead and get some cool little emojis in the chat. If you do that, go ahead and join the cult. I'm here every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday from 8 p.m. to 10 to 10:30 p.m. And I appreciate everybody being here. I love you all. Brandon, you're up next. Then it's gonna be Shamiro. Then it's gonna be Wixers. Brandon, are you over 18, and do you disagree with what I have on the board?
Yes, I am over 18. I do disagree. However, I think the challenge here is you're talking to a bunch of believers. And the only reason why someone has to say, I believe, is because they do not know. So it would be best for them to say, hey, I really don't know, because when you know, you no longer have to say, I believe. Now, I can only prove things within myself for myself, okay? I cannot prove what I have experienced through my meditation to anybody else, especially any believers, except those who have reached their eye center while living, for them to understand who or what God is. Now, I believe that I have proven that there is a God within myself, but I also know that there is a God because of the creation. I also believe that there's a God because I'm looking at a God right now, which is you. You are an individual unit. You are a drop of the ocean of that creator. Now, if there is, and there is a creator because of the cosmos and because of the planets and the universes and even the universes that no physical technology can even get to right now, the creator has created that. And so where's the creator? We are all looking outside for the creator, trying to get some type of proof that he, or I won't say a it because it is more than just a it, exists. But you have to look within yourself to prove that there is a God. As long as you're looking through the two eyes, the two nostrils, the mouth, the two ears, and the two lower apertures, you're never going to find God. You have to be still, raise your consciousness up to the single eye, and withdraw your consciousness within. That is through a meditative practice. But if nobody is going to do it, there is absolutely no way I or anybody else can convince you that God is within yourself. You are the individual unit of God.
Okay, so let me get this straight. I gotta just go ahead and go to the forest, take some shrooms, get high as balls, and then I'll go ahead and find God then?
No, not at all. It's not about any type of outside substance, even if it is from a plant, because the thing about the plants is you will never be able to continually recreate it at the level that you would want to with an outside substance.
Give me a second, Brandon. All right, so all of this sounds very, very flowery and nice, but it doesn't really show how a God exists. You're saying that I'm a unit of God because reasons. That doesn't really, that's not really convincing.
What do you mean?
How do you show God exists?
What do you mean reasons?
No, that's literally all you really said. Like, you said that okay. Well, the first thing that you said is that you know that a God exists because I exist and I'm a creation, or we're all creations. Is that correct?
Well, I said that second. I said first, my first proof is because I've studied a meditative technique and I've been meditating since 2014. So I've proven it for myself. But how are you going to know that?
What I was saying to the first guest, because experience could be evidence for you, but it's hearsay to me, and it's going to be hearsay to everyone. There's no way to actually prove anything. So when I say there's no good evidence, hearsay is not good evidence. So that would still say that will still kind of back up what I say. Like, it's all just hearsay. You know what I'm saying? Because you can say that, yeah, that's evidence of a God, and I can say, well, my evidence show that Olodumare exists, and no one can say differently because I experienced Olodumare.
Right, exactly. And that's what I'm saying. And this is the crux of the debates that continue to happen even thousands of years later. And that's been going on for thousands of years and will continue to happen, right? Like, the individual has to prove it for themselves within. You're not gonna be able to get it through any logic. First of all, I mean, spiritual things must be spiritually discerned. You cannot understand spirit with the logic or with your ego, especially with the ego. And a lot of believers are operating in their ego, thinking that their belief is the best belief or their belief is the only belief, when that's not the case. You're never going to be able to understand spirit with mind or logic.
Appreciate that, Gender. Yeah, sure. So if we're not going to be able to understand the spiritual world with our mind or through logic or it can't even be detected with any instrument that we have, why should we believe that exists? Because, you know, we meditate. Here's the thing about spirituality, right? I don't have any type of, you know, real beef with being spiritual. There's a way to be spiritual and be secular. There's a way to have a non-God spirituality, right? Because even golf or basketball can be spiritual, right? Or cooking, you know what I mean? Or, you know, having sex with your wife or your husband or whatever. That could be spiritual. Like orgies could be spiritual, sure. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is that when it comes to the, give me a second, Cam, I'm about to move to a panel. Everyone stay up because I'm about to move to a panel right now, all right? Give me about 5 minutes. When it comes to the entire thing of, you know, like an actual God existing, and I guess I should describe the God I'm talking about. I'm talking about the God of like classical monotheism, like an actual agent out there that controls space and time and has power over the universe, et cetera, et cetera. I'm talking about that type of God. If you're talking about a God that's, you know, non-detectable or is the universe in of itself, that's no different from my microphone, and I'm not going to worship my microphone. So like, what type of God are we talking about?
Well, God is one, but because that God is so powerful, we split them up into different type of names and a different type of manifestation. But I mean, the power and the consciousness is all one, but it's just so powerful in all consciousness and all knowing that it's almost unfathomable to believe or to think that one entity or one power can have all of that, right? So then we break it down into like mind, but it's just at different levels, at different vibrations, at different subtleties.
So the universe, I mean, I'm talking about, so God is the universe in of itself in different vibrations?
Yes, so to speak. There's different levels, okay? So, I mean, the best way to explain it, to try to get us to understand is you are pure soul right now. You are thinking that you're Volsi. Is it Volsi?
That's Volsi, yeah, that's correct.
Okay. So you're wrapped in a human form, right? You're thinking, you look in the mirror, you think that you're Volsi, right? You've had your childhood, you've had your memories, you've had your mother and your father. You think that is you, right? Mm-hmm. But not only do you have a physical covering, you have an astral mind and an astral body. And wrapped on top of that astral mind and that astral body is a causal mind and a causal body, okay? And then once you get rid of those covers, then you are pure spirit. So you're just pure spirit wrapped upon cover, wrapped upon cover, wrapped upon cover until you're down into this physical universe, thinking that you are only Vulture, an individualized unit separated from God. But you know what? I think it's actually very, very plausible that you're asking these questions and you are making people think critically, because that is what's lost today with these religions. Too many people are believing and they're not thinking critically.
Give me a second, Brandon. All right. So to anyone else who's up here on the panel, did what he say make sense to any of y'all? Because I'm trying to make heads and tails of it, and it's not yet making sense to me.
Mumbo jumbo. Hey,
I would expect that.
Words that didn't really describe anything.
It's making perfect sense to me.
I would expect that. I would expect that from believers. I really would.
All right, everyone, give me a second, because now we are in panel mode right now. I got one more guest to bring up. Everybody, give me a second. All right, Tarzan wants to come back up. All right, so we are in panel mode right now. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Kay. Welcome, Big. Wixers, I know we didn't get a chance to go one-on-one, but I wanted to get to the panel. So we're going to go ahead and do that now, okay? I'm switching over to the panel right now. So if you're over watching on YouTube, you're going to see the picture switch. So we're in panel mode. We're going to be doing this for about the next hour and a half. If you would like to come up to the panel, go ahead and come on up. I do have a subscription goal, just a quick commercial break. I appreciate the person who subscribed to me. I am now close to my subscription goal. I'm reaching for 10 subscribers. If one more person would like to subscribe, it's only $2.99 a month. If you support what I do, I appreciate that. Everyone on YouTube, I appreciate y'all watching. Go ahead and give me to the gift goal.
Definitely be pushing for you to get to that goal.
Yeah, I'm pushing for that. I'm pushing to get monetized as well over on YouTube. So please subscribe to me over there. Link is in the bio.
For your need for monetization.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I definitely appreciate y'all. So now we are in panel mode. All right. So everyone watching me over on the Deconstruction Zone on TikTok, I appreciate y'all. Everyone watching me here on YouTube on my personal Falsy Thoughts channel, I appreciate y'all too. We are in panel mode. Welcome Kay. Welcome Big Carl. Welcome Wixers. Welcome back Tarzan. And Tiny. Tiny, I appreciate you being here as well. All right, so Brandon, you've been talking for a while. I got to go ahead and move on to Jay and Wixers. Wixers want to say something first because he was going to be next. Wixers, are you over 18, and do you disagree with what I have on the board?
How you doing? Yeah, I'm over 18.
All right, got you. Just disagree with what I have on the board?
Yeah, man, I disagree.
All right, got you. One moment, please. Jay, are you there?
Yep, right here.
All right. Are you over 18, and do you disagree with what I have on the board?
Yes, I'm over 18, and I partially agree with you and disagree with you.
All right, so you're half and half, not a problem. All right, y'all, just to let y'all know, Kay is a mod, so if you get spicy, she will drop and block you really, really quickly, all right? I may unblock you later if you're interesting, but she will drop and block you really, really quickly, so keep it respectful. Don't keep it spicy. Brandon, I'm gonna come back to you. Wixers, go ahead and give us your spiel first. I'm gonna give you about a minute to go ahead and speak. No one interrupt them, please. Why do you disagree? What evidence do you think that we have?
Right, like, you know how there's like fundamental like constants in the universe, you know?
Yep.
Like, so like, you know, if something were to be like a little bit off, like, you know, they'd say that like we'd be hurtling into the sun or something like that, right? Don't you think like the sheer probability of like all of this happening just by happenstance is like too great for it to be like deliberately like ordered?
No, and the reason why I don't believe that is because number one, we're here, so obviously it happened. There's no big chance. There's no like, the odds of it happening is one because it happened. But number two, there's nothing to compare it to because we only live on this planet, so we're not 100% sure if there's any life on any other planet, and if there is, then that would show that we're not unique. And the second thing is that. Well, yeah, actually, that's basically it. When we look at out in the universe, we see tons of exoplanets that are also in the habitable zone. We see lots of exoplanets that could have liquid water. As a matter of fact, there was just a discovery. I think it's called KB182, something like that. I'm looking it up again. But that planet we know is giving off biosignatures. Like the light that's coming from that planet, we know is only created from algae. So and algae is only created through like bacteria and actual life. So we know that it can happen elsewhere, so it doesn't make us unique.
Right. But what about the sheer fact that it's so delicate, you know? Like this balance is so delicate. Like one little thing, you know, could go wrong and we'd be gone. Like all life on Earth would end. You know? It just looks like it's impossible, you know? Like that it just could happen just by pure chance, like by pure luck.
Yeah, by pure chance, it could something like that could happen.
Right.
You're
So
saying
don't you
that
think
you're saying that like the chances are too astronomical.
Right.
What did you compare the
Right.
chances to?
Well, the balance of it all, like it's just like everything is just well balanced and ordered properly, like measured the right way.
It's not.
What makes you say that?
You realize that Venus and Mars are also in the habitable zone, right?
Right.
Right. So if Venus didn't have the runaway greenhouse effect, and if Mars wasn't as small as it is, there would have been two other planets in the solar system that have life on it.
Isn't that just bigger evidence of like, you know, a deliberate design?
No.
I mean, if like, you know, we were any closer to the sun, we wouldn't be habitable.
Yeah, we would.
Well, then why is Venus and Mars not habitable?
Because Venus has a runaway greenhouse effect.
What do you know like what caused that?
Yeah, the atmosphere.
Exactly. Like one little thing could go wrong and just all life would be gone, man.
Right. So you realize that's what's happening on Earth right now, right? We're having a greenhouse effect on ourselves. So if we destroy this planet, and it's not supposedly, we are causing climate change. There's no argument over there. But if we have runaway greenhouse effect on this planet, are you gonna, in millions of years, people come back? Aren't they gonna make your same argument? Oh, look at that planet. Ours must have been the right one. Like our alien god must have been the right one because that planet doesn't have life on it. Can I say the same thing?
Do you think that there's like probability of like, okay, what are the probabilities that God exists and that God doesn't exist? Is there a higher probability that he doesn't exist than a higher probability that he does?
There's a higher probability that he doesn't, and the reason why I say that is because like every single explanation of our natural world has always been a natural explanation. There hasn't been one phenomenon that we see on this planet that has ever been explained through a supernatural explanation. It's never been spirits, it's never been fairies, it's never been ghosts, it's never been a supernatural explanation. Everything has always been a natural explanation, every single thing. So why we would assume that the universe or where we are in our solar system now has to be supernatural? There's no reason there's no reason to believe that.
Well, I mean, supernatural, like the definition of that is what, like, you know, something out of the ordinary, right?
Something out of the ordinary, yeah. We
mean,
can go with that.
There could be effects that could be considered supernatural merely because we don't understand them.
Right, but once we do understand them, they become natural, right?
Right, but we don't understand the whole entire universe. So don't you think there could be a slight probability of the existence of God? I mean, the only way for us to be sure 100% that God doesn't exist is we know everything in the universe. Otherwise, there will always be a slight chance that he exists.
Right. We don't know everything in the universe, right? But if you're gonna say that we don't know everything in the universe, therefore God might exist, that's the same argument as saying we don't know everything in the universe, therefore the farting pink unicorn exists, therefore leprechauns exist, therefore Santa Claus exists, therefore Olodumare, the black of our salvation, exists. You don't believe any of those.
Right. The point of me saying that is there's also no good evidence against God, like just as well as there's no good evidence for God.
The evidence against God is the fact that every single thing that we've ever discovered on this planet that we don't understand has always been a natural explanation. There's never been a supernatural explanation for anything. That's never happened. So why would we assume that there's now a supernatural explanation for the earth?
Also, I'm like, and I find that when they say that to be so disingenuous. Because
Well,
if that were the case, then like, why do we need to make an explanation for the fact that the fairies don't exist, or the Easter bunny is not coming to lay Easter eggs this Sunday for the kids, etc. Like,
It is Easter this Sunday. I forgot. Yeah, but exactly what Kay said. My bad for interrupting you, Kay. But exactly what Kay said. I want to get everyone else in this as well. My bad, Kay. Go ahead and finish your thought, and then Tiny, you can go ahead as well. All right.
disingenuous because you know damn well that I'm like that. It's not the lack of evidence that we require. It's evidence to support a claim that there is a supernatural deity that is called God. That's the evidence we need. And if you want to convince us, the question is there is no good evidence for God. That's the statement, not the lack of evidence.
You went low a little bit there, Kay. But I heard everything that you said. But does that make does all that make sense, Wixers? Because
my conclusion is it's just like that. My evidence for God would be the delicate balance of things. Like, you know how they talk about like the three body problem and how, you know, and another like heavenly body could come in and just throw us out of like alignment. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And it's just like how many you know chances are that some could go wrong out there in the universe, but it doesn't. So, you know.
Yeah, there's tons of chances that things can go wrong. Like
exactly. There's more chances of things going wrong than things going right, and that's my evidence for God.
But how is that evidence for God just because there are more chances of things going wrong than right, and it hasn't happened yet? Like it's happened in Earth's history before, right? Like the dinosaurs aren't here anymore, so obviously it's happened, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, we haven't like been thrown out of orbit yet. I mean, as long as we're here and we're still okay,
Yeah. So
the chances are greater. The chances of things like being the way that they are like lesser than the chances of things going wrong, like astronomically.
wait, how did you calculate that?
Simply by the fact that I told you, like there's like there's like a constant, there's constant, that orders everything, like from like the weather to like star systems and stuff, and supposedly that this universe is based off of chaos, right? It's a chaotic universe yet. Right. And yet, we're still here, we're still alive, we're still good.
All right. Back in 2010, there was an earthquake in my parents' country, and 100,000 people died.
Right, but that's just like an earthquake. It's
Yeah,
it's
and it was
just
completely
earthly.
unpredictable. They had no idea what was gonna happen, and then it happened
Right.
again a few years ago.
Right. So
So
what are the chances that like we move a little bit out of alignment and the Earth burns to a crisp?
I mean, gravitation, like that's not a high thing because of gravity, right? But just because of gravity and centrifugal motion, like the laws of physics, are you saying that because the laws of physics are here, therefore God? Like how you connecting that?
Well, because of the three body problem.
Oh, brother.
When you
Okay,
introduce a third body,
Can I
it
say
throws
something?
everything out of alignment.
I'm
That
saying
isn't how the third
And there
body
and there are
problem
how
works at
many
all.
there are how many planets,
That isn't how the third
as-
body problem. There is no
the-
general solution. We have solutions to the three body problem. There is no
Really?
general solution that represents entire systems, though. But we do have like solutions for them. It's a misunderstanding.
Yeah. Give me
have
1 second.
solutions.
Yeah, give me 1 second, Azrael. I'm sorry, y'all. Me and Wicks are kind of dominating the conversation. I do want to get everybody else in here. Elias, I do see that you want to say something. Tarzan, welcome back. I appreciate you being up here, Azrael. Go ahead and stay up. I just gotta go get something to drink. Tiny, go ahead and say what you were going to say. Elias wanted to chime in, and then you guys can go ahead and continue. I know Wild Tarzan disagrees with us as well. So Tarzan, whenever you want to chime in, go ahead. And Brandon, you can go ahead and as well. I just gotta get something to drink real quick. Remember, y'all, K will drop you if it gets too spicy. All right, be right back.
So if we're just using like what if statements, like what if this Earth was off, or what if this condition in the universe was off by this much, that's just an indication of our lack of understanding of how things work. And that's what we try to do, is we try to make things make sense, right? So I mean, it's just human nature, I don't think that this gives any indication of like a being controlling these things, especially since if you're saying that this being is invisible, undetectable, doesn't have any like properties, doesn't have any point of contact within space-time, or even exists outside of space-time, all of these things give an indication to its non-existence more than they do an indication to its existence. And I think like if you're saying that this being is invisible, undetectable, doesn't have any like properties, with a concept that's never been confirmed, like a deity or a creator.
Exactly. Elias, what you want to chime in with?
Yeah, I wanted to address about like the chances of something going wrong. I think that a lot of people have a misconception on the infinite expanse and scale of our known universe. Just so you know, this is a fun fact, and I think it's either 2 or 4 billion years. The Andromeda galaxy will completely collide with ours, right? And because these galaxies are so huge, that there is almost zero chance calculated that we will be affected at all, because regardless of how much is in that galaxy, the gap between everything in these two galaxies is so wide, it'll likely almost nothing will converge. That's how big this our universe is, and how, like, wide the gaps are between things. So, like, the chances of something going wrong are actually pretty damn slim. Of all the asteroids and meteors out there, the chance of one of them actually, like, colliding with our planet on an astronomical, like, level is pretty slim. I know, and we know about them a good deal in advance based on trajectory.
Can I?
What about Nibiru colliding with us?
There's no evidence that Nibiru actually exists. But Azrael, did you want to say something? I'm sorry.
Yeah, like going back to the claim when like something along the lines was it was the chance of something happening is less probable than whatever. To even make a claim like that, you need something called priors to make a probability claim like that, and I don't see how you can get any priors under a God hypothesis when they don't make any observable priors. You would just have to guess, and why would we accept guesses when we're working in reality? Like, why would anyone grant that?
Priors. That's the statistical thing that I was looking for. That's the term that I was looking for, because just like how you said, Azrael, they said, oh, the chances of this, down, the third. I always ask, well, hold on, Richard. I always ask, what exactly do y'all compare that to? And just like Azrael said, priors. You need to have something prior to compare it to, and we don't have any. But my bad, Whiskers, what you were saying.
Thank you for that term.
My evidence for that, I stated, was the fundamental constants that allow the formation of stars and planets, dude. And the delicate ecosystems, bro, that
So here's the thing.
that exist on the planet itself.
So this would also be expected under naturalism, like a view absent of God. So like, what is your symmetry breaker to compare these two worldviews that reaches you to the more ontological claim of saying, well, God is the reason for this? What's that symmetry breaker?
Well, I'd explained it to you earlier.
I wasn't here earlier. I just got here.
Well, you literally said it. The probability of like something going wrong is much higher than everything going right.
All right, but just like how Azrael said, what are your priors to show that to be true?
Two.
The balance of everything. Of the universe,
Wait, well, like I told you though, like, sorry, this would also be expected under like naturalism as well, where we just have these sort of constants, right? This isn't indicative of anything. It just shows that the universe behaves in a certain way. Like, what I'm asking you is, we have these two worldviews where you have God and I have naturalism that can explain the same amount of things, but you just posit the extra thing. Why are you positing the extra thing? Like, what compels you to do that, and what drives that symmetry breaker?
The sheer complexity of it all just existing in the way that it does, the balance of it all. It just seems, so impossible, dude. It just seems so impossible for it to be just a random, arrangement.
All right, Richard, let me explain it this way, because this is what myself and Azrael are trying to say. Like, I get the complexity thing, right? But like, number one, that's personal incredulity. You're just saying that because it seems this way, therefore it has to be this way. That's not necessarily true. But number two, just like how he said, even if a God doesn't exist and we're right, and all these are just natural explanations, we would expect to see the exact same thing, right? So you're saying, I'm seeing all this, therefore God. We're saying we see the same thing, but we would expect that under a natural world. And from what we can see, that's actually the answer, because again, nothing that we've ever discovered, no phenomenon that we've ever discovered about this universe has ever had a supernatural explanation. None of it has ever had that. So we would expect what we see now under a natural world view, under if everything that we see now is natural, complexity, beauty, the constants, all of that, right? You're saying, you're positing that it must be a God. What we're saying is that why you're assuming that one and not natural forces?
Well, because I'm not understanding what you mean when you say supernatural explanation.
Your explanation of your positive God. You said that that's a supernatural explanation, something that's beyond nature, something that implies, powers beyond our reality.
Right.
Like Reed Richards. You ever read Marvel comics?
Yeah.
Yeah, like what was his son? Not Reed Richards, Franklin Richards, the reality bending kid. that kid, stuff like that. Like because if Franklin Richards was a real thing, or the Molecule Man were a real thing, like that would be God, right? Because he can just rearrange molecules any way that he wants. But we see no evidence of such a creature, right?
Or the Living Tribunal.
Or Living Tribunal, yeah. Or Q.
Or
from the
any
Q continuum.
celestial.
Well, doesn't like the Big Bang Theory state that like the universe had a beginning?
No.
Probably went over that last week. That's not.
Yeah, we went over that 2 days ago.
And I just don't want to go back into this. No, that was a long live that aggravated me. No.
Yeah, that was a very
Someone
long
who's-
one.
As someone who's formerly in the field, I think that's done a big disservice of that. But to answer your question, no, it doesn't posit that.
Oh, Azrael, you are an actual physicist?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could really use you Tuesday because
Yeah,
I was
like,
saying
no,
that
and no shade, Volsey. Your homeboy was extra edgy.
he was extra. Yeah, he was being extra.
So funny that like he was like people were trying to be like, so me. I showed so much restraint in that lot because you know me. I showed
Yeah, you
so
did.
much restraint.
Yeah, let me. Hey, y'all, let me tell you, like, I know Kay personally, and I'm so proud of her for showing that all that restraint. Because if it was any other night, 5 minutes in, she would have dropped him. 5 minutes in, she would have dropped
That
him.
was your homeboy.
Yeah,
Only
I
reason.
got you. Yeah, I got you. I feel you. But I'm proud of you for showing restraint. But I promise next time it'll be a lot more organized. All right. That was just my first time running a panel for so long. But yeah, let's go ahead and get back into the discussion. Tarzan, you actually had a question. I don't know if you remembered it. Go ahead and with that question that you had again.
I can't remember if I what it was, but I just mentioned something. I can't remember what my question was before, but I mentioned something just now, and you said, "Are you hearing me?"
I hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, so I mentioned something about the Nibiru. You said there wasn't any evidence to back that up, right?
Right. There's not a lot of evidence of Nibiru. I mean, there could be a planet 10 because something is affecting the Oort cloud. We know that. Azrael could probably give me more information. But like the whole Nibiru thing that could crash into Earth at any time, there's no evidence of that because even if there is a planet 10, it probably orbits the sun once every 10,000 years. We're probably never going to see it. Or we're never going to see it in our lifetime, at least.
6,000. They said 6,000. Astrologers said 6,000.
6,000,
But I'm
yeah,
saying
6,000.
If astrologers are saying that, then it has to be some type of truth to it, no?
Yeah, like
Didn't they? What was this? It was the Sumerians that brought them and mentioned them, right? They're like the first people to mention their existence.
I'm sorry, who?
The Sumerians, the Samaritans, like
The Sumerians? They said
Yeah,
about what?
Existence?
I'm saying, wasn't the Sumerians that where we got that evidence of Nibiru? They were the first people to mention that, right?
No. The where we got this idea of Planet 10 or Planet X is the fact that astronomers or cosmologists, I think, I'm not sure which one it was, but they were all out there looking out into the night sky, into the Oort cloud, and they see that there's something going on with like the comets out past the planet, past the orbit of like Pluto and Neptune. Past that orbit, right? There's other rocks over there. There's like other like comets and stuff like that, right? But the way that they're moving, there has to be an object that's affecting their gravitational pull because the way that they're moving doesn't make sense if there's no object there. So that's how they predicted that there's a planet X. There must be another planet that orbits the sun, probably like you said, every 6 to 10,000 years. Now, because that got into the mainstream society, because that got into mainstream like our talking and everything like that, it blew up into this whole Nibiru thing, and like the Sumerians had like a god named Nibiru, I think, and that's where they put that one on it. It just became a whole conspiracy theory. But no, all it was that astronomers saw that the Oort cloud is being affected by something, and they said that there could be another planet out there that we're not seeing yet that orbits Earth every 6 to 10,000 years. And then when it came into the American lexicon, it just blew up into a conspiracy theory. That's all it was.
Gotcha. So it's no substantiations behind that planet as we can like move forward with.
There definitely might be something there, but Azrael is the physicist here. He can tell us.
There certainly is
Azra,
a
where do you
poss.
think, Azra,
I
where do
was-
you think these like we have to acknowledge like it's UFOs visiting us. Where do you think they're coming from?
Do we have
If
to
the
acknowledge that?
Sumerians said
Do we
that
have to acknowledge that? I don't know if we have to
I mean,
acknowledge that.
if you want to, the Bible acknowledges it, other books acknowledge it. So I'm like, if the Sumerians left the text saying that, hey, we have this
Certain
planet,
translations that have been debunked mention UFOs. They mention like chariots of fire, stuff like that. But like one very debunked concept, the what is it, Anunnaki guy? I forget his name. He claims that it's like UFO
Billy
stuff.
Carson.
And
Van Daniken, yeah. Van
no, it's
Daniken.
another one.
Who, Sitchin?
Stitchin. Thank you. Yes. What is it, Jebediah
Zachariah
or something like?
Sitchin. Zachariah
Yeah, that one. Yep, Zachariah Stitchin. That's been debunked by people that actually read those languages.
See, like
Okay.
with any UFO claim, I just like to point out that it's peak human ego to assume that these higher intelligent beings would just converse with us lesser beings intelligently. I just think that's peak human
No,
ego, and I
but
think there's no reason they would ever do that.
No, but it's not a. I think they are already. The government might not be telling us, but I think they are because
Oh,
how many? What's the odds of them traveling for from light years to come to this planet, and it's no one that they never said anything to anyone. They just do
Exactly.
it, and we just let them do it. That's the breach of Homeland Security. So why are they just free to do that when we see them doing it? So it has to be some kind of acknowledgement between the government and them. I don't want to get too
see, like,
political on stuff like that.
it isn't really talked about, but like the obstacle to get to Earth is actually huge. There is so much things orbiting, so much junk orbiting Earth that it's practically a war zone to navigate through it. So to risk damaging your aircraft to converse with species who haven't even left low Earth orbit in like 70 plus years with humans, it seems too far-fetched to me to be like, yeah, they would want to converse with us. Especially because they have no reason to. They can just, if they can travel the galaxy and have this technology, they would have no reason to waste it on us. That's what I'm saying with it's human ego to think we're that important. We're not.
Yeah, but what's the infatuation with them just coming here? We see them coming and going all the while. What's the
We
infatuation
do?
with Earth? I mean, I
I
do.
don't.
I'm not gonna play dumb.
I don't.
I mean,
I don't
here's
feel.
here's the thing, Tarzan. That you that
You
that,
might
that
need. I think you might need help then. I don't know. Like I don't know if you can.
Wait, am I crazy? Because I think I see it. The whole internet is going on a roar saying that we have sightings, all these things. I literally seen like
Yeah,
3 sightings myself.
I'm like, I get, and I think all of them need help too.
yeah.
So
Without
that
evidence.
we're
If
gonna
there's no
ignore
evidence,
that
I
as
think they need help.
we're gonna ignore that as evidence.
I mean,
Hundreds of
people.
Anyone could claim that they saw something, and
I mean, we have
call it a
video
sighting.
evidence though, so I don't understand.
Video evidence of what?
Of sightings, bro.
Of
I
of
literally,
sightings?
What?
me
Are we talking about
personally,
aliens?
no,
No,
listen,
wait.
the reason I went into that because we're speaking about the Bible. The Bible mentions these things, so that's the only reason I brought it up.
The Bible is. I'm like, I view the Bible no differently than I view the book I had as a kid with Rumpelstiltskin in it. That ain't
Yeah.
that ain't no different.
Yeah, but that's you, Kay. You can't speak for the entire world. I mean,
I'm
if
like,
you
I don't.
wanna
I'm like, I
take
don't
that
care.
stance,
I'm like,
We're
I get
speaking our
that.
individual
it is no
opinions.
different.
Yeah, but we just speaking in general. I just brought it up because it is something to speak. Like I don't know. I think it was something to speak about. Like 'cause
Okay,
the
okay. Let
Bible
me let,
mentions
let me
it.
s- let me say this, Tarzan. Could there be extraterrestrial life out there? Yeah, sure. Could there be life that's intelligent out there? Sure. Could there be life that even came to Earth like, thousands and thousands of years? Right? I think it's unlikely, but if Jesus was an alien, then what does that say about your whole religion? You're worshiping like beings from another planet that had better technology than us.
But you see, before when I said to you, I'm not a Christian like how other Christians think. I don't believe Jesus came from that immaculate conception. He was conceived by Joseph. That's what I believe, and I read that.
Okay, so was Jesus the son of God?
We are all the son of God, so of course he is.
All right. So what was Jesus?
He's the son of God also.
All right. So but you accept him as your Lord and personal Savior.
Yeah.
Why? He's just a regular guy.
No, he does that's what I'm saying. When the books we read about what he's done, he's not just a man.
You just said you don't trust those books.
I didn't say that. Who said that?
You said that when you said that.
No,
Conceived.
I said I don't believe that he was immaculate concepted, but that
Then
doesn't
why
mean.
believe the other parts?
What do you mean? What other parts?
All right. The Bible says that Jesus was immaculately conceived. You said you don't believe that part. So why do you believe the other
No,
parts?
Christians say he's immaculately concepted. When I sit down with my when I sit down with my elders and we read, he was conceived by Joseph, who was the lineage of David. That's
Okay.
why he's Jewish.
Okay, cool. So Jesus isn't actually God in the flesh. Cool. And Jesus wasn't immaculately conceived. Cool. So why do you believe that he walked on water and had magic powers?
Which, by the way, destroys the whole religion.
Because God gave him those powers. God chose him.
So the basis of Christianity is that Jesus was immaculately conceived. And not only was immaculately conceived, but he was perfect and without sin. And walked this earth and and was crucified on the cross and rose from the dead in order to literally, that's actually what the celebration is about to be in the next few days. Literally rose from the dead in order to cleanse. That is literally the base. Without an immaculate conception, your religion loses all credibility. All credit, because that's literally the foundation of it.
Yeah, because like, didn't Jesus die for the first?
Christianity, not Davidianity.
Not Davidianity or Paultianity. It's called Christianity.
Have the branch Davidians.
Oh yeah, there's that. There is that. But what I would say is that so what did Jesus like sacrifice? Was Jesus a sacrifice for our sins too?
Yeah.
Okay, so he was a sacrifice for our sins.
He was not.
Why?
But that
So,
doesn't mean you can continue sinning. That's like
Right, but that wasn't what I was gonna say though. All right, so
I'm just making
he's
that clear. I'm just putting it out there.
I got you. So he was a sacrifice for our sins, and like why was he a sacrifice for our sins?
Because the burnt offerings and stuff like that, animal sacrifice was done away with.
Okay, great.
So he came to be the sacrifice.
Okay, so he came to be the sacrifice, right? But Jesus isn't God.
No.
Jesus isn't God. All right, so God did send Jesus to be a sacrifice.
Son of God. So what does he believe?
All right, so God sent. Yeah, I'm just trying to clarify right now. Okay, I do feel you. I'm just trying to get some clarification. All right, so God sent Jesus to be a sacrifice, but Jesus isn't God, so there is no Trinity. There's only God. There's only the one God. Correct?
Right.
Okay, cool. So there's only. I got you. So there's only the one God. There's no Trinity. I'm following so far. Is this God all powerful?
Yes.
Why does he need a virgin sacrifice?
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
I just got a call. I didn't even hear what you said.
Okay, cool. I said, because we were talking, we said that God is all powerful. If God is all powerful, does he require a virgin sacrifice to forgive us?
Why does he of it? I don't know. I couldn't get their explanation.
Right.
So I'm
I
not
said.
a Bible scholar, but I just believe in what I believe in and what I read.
Right. So I understand that you believe in what you read, but I want you to think about what you believe. Why would an all-powerful God require a virgin sacrifice to forgive people? Can't he just do it on his own power?
I don't know. Maybe he wanted a man, just like how he formed Adam, and he had a relationship with Adam. He wanted a man. That's what he said in the book. From one among you will be the prince. One among you that's the person I'm going to choose to be the prince and savior. So he's always dealt with man in that way. Like he created man, he dealt with man. So he wanted to have a man to go through that struggle.
He wanted
The
a
answer is
man.
because he's a sadist. He's a sadist. That's the
That's
answer.
all I was gonna say, Elias. But like, no, that's what I agree with, Elias. But like, the thing is, Tarzan, like, do you understand what I'm trying to point out to you here? Like, this God is
No,
all
I get it.
powerful.
He's all powerful. He should be able to. He doesn't need a man to come in there and do these things. But that's how he's always dealt. He put Adam in the garden to tend over the flock and gave Adam a job. If he's all powerful, he could have done that himself. But like I said, this is how he deals with mankind.
Yeah,
So
but
he
the
dealt.
story of Adam isn't a physical man or a physical being. It's an allegorical, anthropomorphized story of the soul taking on coverings of the mind. The serpent is the mind being attached to the senses, or the five, what are also called the five non-virtues, the five enemies, which are lust, greed, anger, attachment, and ego. So that's just an allegorical, anthropomorphized story. Adam is the soul, Eve is the mind. And then the mind gets attached to these senses, lust, greed, anger, attachment, and ego, and it has us out
I
here in
don't believe
darkness.
that.
You,
You would have
like
to
I
deal
said, the
with
only
that,
reason
bro.
why anybody has to say I believe is because they don't know.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
but I can say I know because he's dealt with me personally. You won't believe it.
all right, so Tarzan,
Wait,
what?
Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna ask Tarzan, what's the evidence of Adam and Eve then?
What do you mean?
What is the evidence of Adam and Eve? How do we know Adam and Eve actually existed?
Humanity, I guess.
Right, but like, do you understand what?
Evolution.
No,
We
we're
evolved from Adam and Eve, didn't we?
right, but like,
Unless you believe in
evolution,
the Big Bang.
evolution
And
would
you
be
still would have to.
evolution would be impossible. Yeah. What you?
Aw.
I feel like he was trolling.
No, I was gonna say evolution would be impossible if evolution would be impossible if there were only two people on the planet. Like that wouldn't be possible. Yeah, I mean, so yeah. Okay, Cindy is kind of crashing out in the comments. I see you, Black Alien God. I appreciate you being here. I don't think we have. Oh wait.
Look for the rest of the live then. Now he can crash out in silence by himself.
All right. So I think right now the only Christian we have on the board is Wixers. Let's see if we can get anyone else up here. We have the Butcher. Oh wait, the Butcher did say that he was gonna come back when I have this religion topic again. So let's go ahead and bring the Butcher up. Black Alien, I do see you there. Don't worry, I'm gonna go ahead and bring you up. Give me a moment. But I do got the Butcher. The Butcher, you do disagree with me what I have on the board, is that correct?
That's correct.
All right, cool. I do not think there's any evidence for a God. Just to let you know, there are a lot of non-believers here. Your backup is only probably going to be Wixers. Why do you think that there is evidence for a God?
Well, I'm not a Christian, so I'm not an easy target like a lot of y'all. You know, a lot of the atheists do it. You know, it's easy to kind of wrangle mythology around, but I'm a pantheist, so the evidence would be just the absolute necessity, the absolute objective fact. There always has to be an antecedent to everything, and there has to be a necessary.
So causality?
Yeah, absolutely.
How is all right? So you said that you're not a believer in the traditional sense. You're a pantheist, correct?
Yeah.
All right. So that means that to you the God and the universe are one and the same.
Yeah.
All right. Does the universe like bend to our will? Can we pray to it and it does stuff?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. All right. So does the universe have a will? Like, does it answer us? Does it like do anything?
No, nothing has a will.
Nothing has a will. All right. So if that's the case, what you're saying is equivalent to no God at all.
How you feel?
How are you defining God? You're universe, but you already said that the universe has no will.
No, why does it need to have a will for it to be a God?
Because that's how we typically define God. If you're defining God as something that doesn't have any will, this water bottle is God too.
Well, you know what? if you say will, then and you looking at will is based on like the outcome,
Agency.
or the outcome of an effect, then I guess the universe willed us into existence.
All right, but when I talk about agency, I'm talking about intent. Like I have agency, like I can get up and walk out the house, right? That's what I'm talking about. Does the universe have something like that, like intent?
Yeah, yeah,
It does have intent.
yeah. We can see intent. We can see intent by the self-organization of the universe.
Okay, so the universe has intent. How do you show that to be true?
With the self-organization of the universe.
The universe does not self-organize.
Outside of the universe organizes the universe.
Things are the way that the universe sets is here, right? Is just through the laws of physics and interactions on the quantum realm. That's really it.
Yeah, that's self-organization.
That's
Why
what?
does something exist rather than nothing at all?
No one knows.
Yeah, that's self-organization in itself.
That's self-organization, like the laws of physics.
Yeah, the laws of matter of fact, I would say the laws of thermodynamics prove a God. It proves something outside of that.
The reason you see things is contingent, which is kind of ludicrous, if you will.
Why is it so ludicrous?
Well, if you're going to hold to a view of some necessary thing, you're just saying the reason we see things is because of a contingent thing. Wouldn't that just be a little ridiculous if you posit a necessary thing? For your view, at least?
Explain to me then why something exists rather than nothing at all then.
We don't know
That's
why.
precisely the argument that I'm giving you.
Right. So nothing could easily just exist.
Well, hold on.
That's my critique right there.
What I'm saying is that there is no such thing as nothing, right? Nothing is not a thing, because the moment you think that you can detect nothing, what does it become?
Something.
It becomes something, right? So nothingness is not a thing, right? That's not. There always had to be something. What I'm saying is that you guys are saying that the universe had to have a cause, but this uncaused cause didn't need to have a cause. All that is really a special pleading. You're putting in the special category where it doesn't need a cause. I can do the same thing in the universe. The universe didn't have to have a cause. It just always was. Now what? Where do we go from there?
That's just infinite regress. The question remains unanswerable.
Yeah, the same thing for you. The same thing for your uncaused cause.
Wait, what's the problem?
There's
with infinite
never an
regress?
answer.
Wait, what's the problem for an
What's
infinite
that?
regress? Yeah, what's the problem with an infinite regress?
There should be
The
no
problem?
Yeah.
Some people say that the universe perhaps can work that way.
But I'm not asking
But you
some
have to be
people. I'm
careful
asking
with that
you.
because there are also people that say the Earth is flat.
Well, I don't believe
like,
that.
I don't really like. I don't really like.
Hold on, guys.
really
One at a
care
time.
about
One
what
at a
other
time.
I don't
people
believe
think.
that a contingent universe.
Pause. Let's go one at a time. I did interrupt Azrael, so just to be fair, Azrael, go ahead and what you were saying.
Yeah, like Risers, I don't really care what other people say. I care about what you say. And you brought up like an infinite regress as if like there was something like wrong with it. I'm just curious. What would be the problem with an infinite regress?
Well, that the answer would never be solved. You know, they would just keep going and going. You know, it would never give you an answer of why contingency exists in the universe. It would
that's
never
just
give
the,
you an answer.
Oh, sorry. So like, what answer would you look for? Like, why couldn't it explain anything?
Wait, I don't see. I saw you say.
He hasn't requested up yet. But we'll wait for him. We'll see if he requests up.
What would be wrong with the infinite regress as far as like contention with a God? Like it would like a God would be eternal, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The problem that I'm having with your position, Butcher, is that it's no different from no God at all.
Not at all. That's not. No, I'm saying that everything has a cause. That would be the God, the thing that can't be destroyed nor created.
Energy.
Yeah, energy.
That's different from no. That's not ain't different from no God at all, because energy is just a property of a system. It's not an ethereal thing onto itself.
No, it's the property of everything that exists.
Right. So that's different from no God at all.
How is it? What? Explain that, please.
All right. So when we use the term God, we always imply a being that has agency, right? That has just more power than we do. Energy is not a being, and energy doesn't have agency. It's just a property of a system. If you're defining God as just energy, that's no different from no God at all, unless you're changing the definition of God from a being that has agency to a being to a property that has no agency. But again, if that's the case, why use the term God? Why not just use the term that we already have?
There's just more than one definition for God, and it's not just one definition.
I understand there's one definition for God, right? I understand that. The definition for God could be the one of the classical religions like Christianity and Islam. It could be the one of monotheism. It could be the one of deism. It could even be the one that you come up with. The problem that I'm having with that is that we already have words for that. If the definition of a God that you're saying is something that can't be created or destroyed, and I say energy, and you say yeah, and I'm like, that's no different from a God at all, because again, the definition of God that we people usually use is a being that has agency. If you're saying that God is not a being and God is not a thing that has agency, it is a property of a system, we already have a word for that, which is energy. So why call it God?
Because it fits the criteria of an uncaused cause.
That's just energy, bro. What I really don't.
Energy can manifest. What if that energy can manifest?
Well, it did manifest, because ultimately what you're saying is that this thing that we just call energy, right?
No, I'm asking Volsi. What if that energy can manifest in a physical?
I'm talking about. So that thing that you're saying is just energy also produced these thoughts in a systematic way that you now hold right now.
So
I guess energy produced consciousness.
Yeah.
Okay. So energy would have to have some component of or some type of capacity to be conscious in that way.
No,
we're not made of energy.
Consciousness is just an emergent property.
We're made of
The
matter.
emergent property of energy.
Yeah, like just be like what I'm saying is property is. I mean, what I'm saying is consciousness could just be an emergent property. It doesn't have to have any like explanation of agency for it to exist.
An emergent property of energy will still be contingent on the thing that we call energy, just like everything else. If you don't
Right, but what I'm saying is that
exist.
Why call it a God if we already have a word for it?
We have a word for everything.
All right, so what I'm saying is that what you're doing is basically just changing the definition of God. Then
I didn't change the definition of God. God is also the definition of God could also be the necessary component of existence. That's another definition. I just looked it up.
The necessary component of existence.
Yeah, like Spinoza's God.
So hydrogen.
No, like Spinoza's God.
I'm gonna ask a very butcher. I'm gonna ask a very real question. Are you trolling?
No, not at all.
You dead ass?
Dead ass. Go to my profile. I got videos that I made about the concept of energy being God.
Like, I'm just not talking about this like you're a whole time spill. Are you really dead ass? Like,
so serious.
Yeah, because this is kind of ridiculous, bro. You're saying that God is a necessary component of existence. A necessary component of existence is like food. So you're saying that God is the McChicken I ate earlier? Like that? What's the difference between that and no God at all? This is stupid.
No God at all.
I ate chicken yesterday. You know, like
That's funny, bro.
I had yesterday.
Yeah. I had grapes for lunch. Like, are you saying that God is the grapes that I eat? Because that's a necessary component of my existence.
I had pancakes and with bananas this morning.
Can I say something real quick?
Is that God? It sure tasted very holy. I can tell you that.
Yeah, but that banana was very, very nice. But Elias, what you were trying to say?
I think that there's a huge difference between the concept of like a universal connected energy or force or something, a cosmic, entity or something like that, and it's God with a very intentional, conscious motivation and will and intent. We can claim all up and down all day that like God is the universe, God is energy, God is everything, but like there's a big difference between that and intention. Like the claim by religion is that God is an intentional, willful being that has like motivations and desires.
Oh, may I point out I don't know why we're like treating energy as some sort of physical thing. It in its most fundamental form, it's literally just an abstract thing.
Yeah, it's
You
it's a conceptual thing that
Well,
encompasses.
so is God, to be fair.
Yeah.
so you wouldn't say he really exists then? He's just some ontological entity that has no value of existence. It's just a way we characterize things,
Why does the universe exist?
brother.
We don't know why the universe exists.
Full
Like-
circle.
Right.
Like when you ask frontier questions like that, like you're bound to get no progress anywhere because you're asking frontier questions.
That
So
is my point. That is my point. There's as much
We-
probability that God exists as same as he doesn't.
Let's
because-
say God
wait,
does exist.
wait.
Does that mean
So
your
what
portrayal
priors-
is
oh,
correct?
sorry.
No, my fault, bro. I'll be quick. Let's say God does exist, right? Does that mean that any portrayal of him presented by men is correct? Does that mean that the Abrahamic God is like objectively the correct one? Is there any way to know that it's one God, not multiple gods? That is there any way for us to know God's will or intention for us, motivation or desires?
I'm like,
It could just be an attempt, you know, just like how anybody can attempt.
What's his name? Volsi Aldo I can never pronounce.
Olodumare.
Olodumare. Could it be Oshun? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it could be in any one of those. Hey,
I mean,
guys.
I'm like, if God was real, I do believe it would be a black one. So Oshun probably.
Exactly. It could be your Moja. You know what I mean? Can everybody? I'm just excuse me real quick. I just got to do a quick commercial break. All right, y'all. We have 14.6K likes, 62 people in here. I appreciate everybody on the panel. If you agree or find anyone interesting on the panel, please follow them or give them gifts. I appreciate y'all. Hey, y'all, I do have a subscriber goal. I'm only one subscriber away from hitting my goal. I'm a subscriber goal of 10. I have 9 right now. Please join the cult. It's only $2.99 a month, less than a cup of coffee, less than the McChicken that I ate earlier, only $2.99 a month. Please go ahead and join the cult if you like what I do. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. You could go to Volsi Thoughts. You can go to Deconstruction Junction on YouTube. Shout out to everyone watching me on YouTube right now. What up, Dong? What up to here? What up? Who else is here? What up, Chrissy? I appreciate you being here. What up, Mo? I appreciate you being here. Deconstruction Junction, Burns, Blaster Master, Metal Man. I appreciate y'all being here as well. And we just hit 10. We just hit 10. Hey, we hit that subscriber goal. I appreciate that. We hit that subscriber goal.
Volsi, someone said in the comments earlier that they like how my voice sounds, and I don't know how to take that. 'Cause I don't know what they meant by that.
Go ahead and give her more gifts if you like her voice. Go ahead and give her more gifts, y'all. All right, so we're gonna go.
The way it sounded to me, I'm like, I hope y'all are dead ass not getting off to me just speaking.
Some of them is getting off. All right, y'all. So I appreciate you. You all. We're gonna go ahead and get back into the subject. I do want to hear from Decon and Tiny because you guys haven't had a chance yet. Tiny, did you have anything to?
It was the algorithm. You did say
It
that,
was the
like,
algorithm.
I
Yeah, I
don't
knew it
know
was
how to
algorithm.
get that, though. Like,
Wait, if I may though, like he responded to something I said.
Yeah, sure.
Here's a problem like I have with probability and how it's so misrepresented. When you make a probability claim of something is more probable than A, what you have to do is use something called Bayes' theorem. So you have this probability of event A. You can say it's gone. Like that's the thing you're trying to find out, right? Then you have the probability of event B if A is true. So if something happens and God is the reason, what's the probability of that? Then you have the overall priors. So like, what's the chance of that happening? And then the chance of it not happening. So you would say like, if I wanted to test for some, like a disease, is 99% accurate and only 1% of people have this disease. If someone tests positive, what's the chance they really have it, right? You would plug in how common is the disease and how accurate the test is, etc. What are you doing for God there? You have to assume evidence to be the case. And if you take any arbitrary measure of evidence, you just skew any result of it being a meaningful claim. My problem is, since there's such an arbitrary definition of what counts as evidence, the evidence itself is not really that good. And anything you could calculate, you could explain naturalistically and say it had to be this way because there's no reason to think it would be any other way. Or you can hold to some view of determinism and be like, this is necessary for the foundation of existence. So what symmetry breaker could you apply there to be like, this is wrong, but we have this deity that controls the universe?
Well, this goes back to infinite regress. Like, what are the probabilities if something can keep existing depending on itself forever and ever? What will be the chance that, you know, it wouldn't exist at all? You know, like as far as we can observe, everything else depends on something else in order for it to exist. Like
The universe could be cyclical. Like that's a very active field of cosmology. In fact, I have friends in that field where the universe is just endlessly cycling.
Yep.
exactly. So, you know, shouldn't there be a chance that it wouldn't exist at all?
There could. So is it logically possible that the universe doesn't exist in any logically possible world? Sure, but there is no way you could ever compute a probability of that, because you couldn't make any meaningful cases of evidence.
Right, because yeah, there wouldn't be an answer. If infinite regress, which is what the Big Bang theorists like to say is true, there would never be a true ultimate conclusion.
What does there need to be a true ultimate conclusion?
I don't.
So the universe is
Because they would just answer the question of why.
if the universe is self-sustaining,
What is
wouldn't
the
everything else that's within the universe be contingent on the universe itself?
Isn't it?
Say that one more time.
If the universe is self-sustaining, everlasting, wouldn't everything within the universe be contingent on the universe itself?
Probably.
And no, absolutely.
Yeah. Sure. We'll be wrong with that.
No, that's why I hold these pantheistic views, because you can't. It's the undefeatable position. Like that would have to be the God.
But the thing is, what I keep saying, what I keep bringing you back into is that, are you now saying that a God doesn't need to have agency? You're like changing the entire definition.
I'm not, bro. It's not that I'm not changing. Like the definition is like four or five definitions for God.
Right, and all of them imply a being that has agency. You're implying something that does not.
All of them doesn't have agency, bro.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and type in God right now and see if all of the definitions have agency.
One of them
They
has
absolutely do.
theistic view, singular view. The pantheistic view is God identified with the universe, where everything collectively constitutes God. Deistic view, the creator does not intervene. The polytheistic view, where there's multiple gods. The metaphysical, philosophical view, which is pretty much what I hold to: the first cause, ultimate reality, or necessary being upon which all existence depends on.
Right, necessary being. Again, all of them.
Not necessarily anthropomorphic or personified.
Right, I understand not necessarily anthropomorphic or personified, but it still has being in there, meaning that it's something that that exists that has agency. All beings have agency. Are you saying that this is a being without agency?
Are plants beings?
That's a very good question. That's a very good question. Does a being necessarily have agency? Okay, that is a good philosophical question, because we still haven't solved the nature of being yet. We don't know what being is. So you're saying that this is something that exists like a plant?
I mean,
I mean, plants exist.
Yeah, I'm a hard determinist.
Yeah, but plants have the element of water. There are 5 elements that make up all living things. Man is at the top of all creation because we have all 5 elements in us: earth, water, fire, air, ether. Plants have the element of water.
I know I'm a little bit feisty, but
Yeah, where's the fire?
So
Plants
like,
have the element of water in them.
so it's like with semantics. So being would just
Can I
be.
say something?
Oh, go ahead, Tony.
So, if we're not making a distinction for the definition of what we're saying God is, and we're just saying like it's the universe and all the properties within it, then there's no delineation. There's no like distinction. There's no like telling them apart. I mean, it's just like saying all the stuff that already happens, everything that exists is God. I mean, like we're saying earlier, it could be like a piece of, dirt, on my shoe. Like that could be God. Like there's no
No, the distinction would be in the
Sorry.
discernment.
the distinction would be in the cause versus the effect. We would be the effect, not the cause.
And then we just have naturalism. We have
I
naturalist
personally,
phenomena. We have naturalistic explanations.
Yeah,
We have
there's still distinction.
the state of affairs of existence as we know it.
Agreed, Tiny, but there's still distinction within naturalism.
So does
my
it have
question,
will or intent?
I personally don't believe that God needs a cause or reason to exist, because that
He
would
said
like
there's a distinction. Butch has said there's a distinction. What is the distinction?
The cause and effect. We will be an effect. We will be. We're not the cause of the universe. We're an effect of the universe.
Well, there's always been causes happening in the universe.
Agreed. Agreed. Infinite amount of causes, if you will.
Right, and you're saying that causality is then God, but like the is all right. So God to you is a being without agency.
Not necessarily. If it has agency, I wouldn't necessarily be able to recognize it.
All right.
Like,
So
like I
How
don't know.
do
If
you?
I don't think.
How do you
I don't think
recognize it?
I don't. But well, we can see cause and effect. That's what we can recognize. And this is the absolute of it all right here. This is what kind of led me to the conclusion, along with the laws of thermodynamics, is that every current moment is always going to be contingent upon the prior moment. Now, how far can you go back to trace those steps? You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Exactly.
But it still comes back to how are you defining God, because it's like you're making no distinction between anything in the universe and God itself.
While we're up here, I want to see if there's anyone that also wants to come up on the panel, and so we could figure that out as well. So if there's anyone else in the comments that wants to come up on the panel.
Yeah. Give me a second. Let's see.
We also have to make.
About to drop here soon, but yeah. If I just wanted to point out that there's literally no distinction there. That the distinction is God, but it's cause and effect. But that's under naturalism. That's still explained without invoking a God. I don't even know what you're defining God to be here.
Yeah, that's exactly the issue that I was having. You're defining God as nothing other than my water bottle that's next to me. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, why would we define that if God is everything and then nothing at all, or God is not a being but is a being, or God has agency and doesn't have agency? You're really not defining God as anything at all.
And the God is the uncaused cause and necessary property of everything that exists.
That's energy. We already have a word for it. That's indistinguishable from no God at all.
So if all right, okay, I can go with that. But this is what that would boil down to. That would boil down to a deterministic universe that dictated that we would absolutely have the thoughts that we're having right now based on every moment being contingent upon the prior moment.
Not necessarily, because energy doesn't have energy has no intention, bro. So not necessarily.
That also isn't even an ontological being. It's literally an abstract concept.
Sounds like it's a mechanism that the universe is contingent on. It's just some set of mechanisms, not some mind or agency or something with intentionality, or it desires anything to happen or wills it to happen. It just seems like natural causes.
Neither do you. You don't have any intention. There's no free will. You don't have a free will.
Absolutely do.
I don't have a free will.
No, you do not.
I gotta go,
I'm
guys.
like, I
I
have
appreciate you.
will.
I'll see you guys
I'm
soon.
like, I have the ability to
See you,
get
Tiny. I
up
appreciate you.
and to make that choice. I have free will.
Wait.
You have the illusion of free will, but you have no actual free will. Everything is contingent upon other prior moments and things that are out of your control, even your thoughts.
No,
So
That's insane.
So wait, there is some truth in there though. The definition of free will is to make choices independent of prior situations or prior causes. You can't do that. You have constant priors plugging into your head in every choice you make.
But that doesn't mean we don't have intent.
Oh, I wouldn't say with intent. I was just saying something else.
Yeah, I get what you mean. On the actual semantic of free will, you're absolutely right. But I assumed he was just using that as a placeholder for consciousness and the ability to like make decisions and shit.
So my question is, for the quote unquote non-believers, is what would need to happen? What would you all need to see in order for you all to say that's God?
Just appear in the sky once a generation, say, "Hey guys, I'm here. Don't be a dick." Why not?
Because here's the thing about the intellect, which is great. I mean, it's done great things for this physical world. But see, what the intellect likes to do is it likes to dissect, and it likes to dissect, and it likes to dissect times 1 trillion. And then when it's time to bring it all together and put it all back together in one piece, it can't do it anymore because it's lost. So it's like, even if there was a being that came down in the sky in some type of light form that looked human and had a head and 2 eyes, you all wouldn't even say that was God. You all would start questioning that. Like, oh, that ain't God.
Also need to see a demonstration of the omnipotence, omniscience, and
Yeah, I would need to see a demonstration of its power. So like, yeah, sure, if it's a creature like Q from the Q Continuum in Star Trek, then yeah, sure, we can probably.
I wouldn't be necessarily atheist anymore. Does that mean I would necessarily
Follow it? No.
No.
Yeah. All right, y'all.
The biblical portrayal is correct.
That doesn't necessarily mean I would follow it.
Especially if the biblical portrayal was accurate.
Yeah, exactly. All right, y'all. Give me 1 second.
I would never follow the God of the Bible.
Not the God of the Bible, definitely not. All right, God. Let's go ahead, and we do have more people up on the board. I say we're probably gonna go to. I was been supposed to end, as a matter of fact. All right, so Dan and Stay Woke, you guys are gonna be the last guests because I do have to go ahead and get out of here. We'll go ahead and talk for the next, I would say, 15 to 20 minutes. Stay Woke, are you over 18 and do you disagree with what I have on the board?
Yes and yes.
All right. And Dan, are you over 18 and do you disagree with what I have on the board?
Absolutely, yes.
Gotcha. All right, let's start with Woke. All right, Woke. So what I don't think that there's any evidence for a God. Let me know why you think that there is.
I mean, I think I'm just probably looking at it really simple, but my first thoughts are to denounce a God is to like automatically believe that there is one. And then all the physical evidence that we have around us in the world today surrounding us. I mean, geology, everything that we have here in this physical world proves and gives glory to his creation. And then we have his word, and it's like with all this proof and evidence and, culture and religion and tradition and testimony and witness, it's just overwhelming. I mean, yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so Dan, why do you think there's evidence for a God?
I mean, I think that there's a large amount of evidence, even through the scientific community. They're actually, kind of to a certain extent proving themselves wrong quite often. With the Webb telescope, okay, which is a really great example. I don't know if you know what I'm speaking on.
I know what you're talking about.
It's a telescope that they put into space. I can't remember who funded it, to be honest. I'll have to look a little bit more up on it, but I'll get you, if I can, I'll get you more information. But
NASA.
There's pictures, yes, NASA, and actually all of these space agencies throughout the world created this telescope that I believe is powered by solar energy, and it just keeps on going and going and going. So now they're getting pictures in the universe that they've never seen before, and these images are breathtakingly stunning. I mean, they just show the universe in a way that they absolutely they just were not prepared for. The way that everything works, I mean, everything in general is so complex that the majority of I actually literally saw one person as they saw them for the first time say, "Oh my God."
Okay,
now, I'm
gotcha.
not saying that
All right, so
gives the evidence of
yeah,
God.
I got you. All right, so let's go ahead and start with Stay Woke first. All right, cool. So you said that to not believe in God is to believe in Him. That makes absolutely no sense. What do you mean by that?
No, I'm trying to say like to not believe to say there's no God. It's like you're automatically acknowledging Him. No, or am I thinking about that too deep?
That's nonsense.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah, so Woke, if I say there's no Santa Claus, does that mean I believe there's actually a Santa Claus?
If you said there's no Santa Claus, then does that mean that there is a Santa Claus? Is that your
Right.
question?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there is a Santa Claus.
Not
No,
saying
there
Nicholas,
isn't.
dude.
Yeah, we're not doing that. All right, so yeah, Dan, I understand that everything out with that the James Webb Telescope is looking at, like it's really beautiful and really gorgeous. Like nature is very very pretty. That doesn't show a God exists.
Well, I guess I was more getting to the point to where they, in this particular juncture, can't explain, and they actually believe the universe is much grander than they originally expected. So, you know,
Yeah, of course.
the idea is that what
that
they're saying right
evidence
now
of
is that they
God?
cannot actually pinpoint any real origin of the universe, and the only one that they can come up with at this particular juncture is that they don't know. It has to be by grand design.
That's not what they said. The
Whoa,
Big Bang
yeah,
Big
that
Bang
is
cosmology is still the main model. Is that they didn't say grand design? No one ever said that.
Well, it's the
No
model
one
as
ever
of right
said
now,
that.
but
And
the model is changing every day.
Even if it did say that, like that's not evidence for God, and it's not evidence for your God.
Okay, well, can I? There's a star that's coming in. This well, not a star. I'm sorry, a meteor that is coming in with a trajectory very close to Earth called. I think it's called Wormwood. I'm not entirely sure. It's something close to that. But that's the name they get it, or something like that. But the thing is that
Wormwood.
they thought that this comet was not going to be here for a very good long period of time, and now they're seeing that it's going to be here a lot sooner than they had originally anticipated.
Are you talking about
When it
Oumuamua?
comes down to the idea
Hold on,
that
Dan,
you know, science is getting things right,
Dan, slow down. We're actually trying to talk to you. Slow down.
Oh, sorry.
Are you talking about the comet Oumuamua? Because that already passed.
Right. Yeah. But what I'm more trying to say is that they did not know that it was going to be coming in that fast. So they thought that they had the calculations correct, but they were wrong. And it showed to the whole world that they
All right,
didn't know
cool.
what they were doing.
I got you. No, it didn't show they didn't know what they were doing. They was just wrong on how fast it was going to come. As a matter of fact, they weren't even that far off. We had someone who's in the field right now, Azrael, and he'll tell you. They thought it came faster than they thought it would, but they knew that it would have came to our solar system and got off, but it just was faster than they thought they would have. All right, so that's the first thing. But none of this shows a God, and none of the cosmologists have ever said this must be a grand design. They have floated a hypothesis that this universe may be a simulation, but they never said that this must be a God or grand design or anything like that. That's never happened. Like the universe is pretty.
Even if they
but
did, then the question would be, what's the evidence that it's your God? That would be, or your gods. Not everyone is monotheist.
There's a lot of evidence actually to show that even with the ancient Sumerians, their story is breathtakingly close to the one of Noah's, and so is a lot of the other ones. So even further back, if we want to go back, these beings that came to see them are starkly close to the beings that were talked about in the Bible as well. Now, there is, of course, a story in the Bible that you've also read now in the book of Enoch, if you've decided to read the Dead Sea Scrolls, that there was a fall of the angels and there was a giving of knowledge to human beings that we were not supposed to have. So there is evidence of God.
There would have to
those
be
scrolls.
evidence of fallen angels, like religious.
Well, if we believe in angels now, doesn't that say, or not, I'm sorry, aliens now, I mean, what else would we have a conclusion to draw?
Who said we do?
I don't believe in angels.
Well, no, I know I'm saying, but if the only description we have as
like,
of right
and
now
aliens
beings
are
of
not
light are angels, but we are now calling them aliens, what other example do we have?
Wait, hold on. You're saying that aliens and angels are the same thing?
Yes, that they are
Why-
the ones who have fallen from
wait,
heaven.
why
Yes.
do you believe that?
I believe that the fallen ones have come down here to corrupt mankind. They've done that, and the time is running out.
Right. So okay, I understand that you believe that. Yeah.
Like,
okay.
the
So
end of the
then.
world is on its way, and
Okay. So that hold on.
Well, see, I want
Wait.
to get to this part because I have a feeling I know where this goes. Corrupting how?
Yeah. Corrupt how?
I'm sorry. Could you ask one more time?
How are they corrupting humanity? What acts in humanity shows that they're being that they are corrupting?
Okay, well, as of right now, they've used demonic technology, and I tell you that CERN is definitely that. And I've watched many
Oh,
ceremonies.
my
Not just give me one second. that they're trying to find things that are going to prolong human life, and they are trying to.
All right. So we're
Dude,
gonna go ahead and get out of here
I'm
soon,
like, so
guys.
we
I
had a
appreciate you all.
conspiracy theorist
if
on our
if
hands.
Yeah,
I may
exactly.
though,
Go ahead,
I
Azrael.
I personally know
I'm like, I
people.
will say this though, like, I'm like the whole idea, like, that, um, that I'm like the angel, like the people, like quote quote beings that came down, like that they called angels would be like supernatural beings. I could not supernatural, like extraterrestrial beings. I could see that if we ever have evidence for aliens. If there ever were to be alien, if there were ever to be evidence for that, I think that is more probable than like a
Yeah,
But bro,
supernatural
the
supernatural
being.
beings.
Yeah.
The pyramids.
Like,
Azrael, what you're gonna say? Because I'm gonna go ahead and end it soon,
because
guys.
as
I'm
we
getting
talked
out of
about
here.
before, there is like,
Ye-
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that like I personally know people from CERN, and I can tell you from speaking to my good friends, it really does bother them, or at least my friend, when claims like that are made because it really does diminish the work that is being done there, and it just perceives the whole community to not trust people, and that affects funding ultimately. That's a really big problem, and it's one that needs to get solved with the rise of pseudo intellectualism.
All right, y'all. We're all gonna go ahead and
That's a
get a
good
minute
point.
to
Thank you.
close out. Elias is going to ahead and start with you. Then we're gonna go to Black. Go ahead, Elias.
All right. Yeah. Well, first, Azrael, thank you. That was a really great point. I've never considered that before. But yeah, dude. At the end of the day, a lot of people in the comments are accusing all of us of being like atheists that want to disprove the existence of God. Me, I think it's perfectly reasonable. There might be a God. My problem is the idea that any of us have an accurate portrayal of him, know what he wants, or can take religious texts as fact to base our lives and morals on. I think that's absolutely insane, pretentious, and the definition of anti-intellectualism. I think that organized religion is obviously used for control, fear mongering, and power. And any other opinion is wrong.
Exactly. Appreciate you, Elias. All right, Azrael, go ahead. You're up.
Yeah, I would actually lean towards more of the agnostic view, just for like reasons. But I what I do hate is this like stigma of people questioning like why, and then people getting mad at that. I think if you make any claim, it's reasonable to examine such claim with scrutiny, to be like, well, you're believing in it to be like eternally is something that you want to actually desire, and people getting mad at that is just it's really funny, and it really shows more of a mindset with the theists as opposed to the atheists, which I think isn't really considered much.
Yeah, that is true. That's a good point. All right, Azrael. All right, Black Alien. I know this is the end of the show, but go ahead, brother. You there, Alien? All right, Kay, go ahead.
Yes. So kind of similar to what like Israel said. I just think it's reasonable to question these types of claims. It's especially when, quite frankly, there are laws being made because of these beliefs. I think it's absolutely necessary to question these beliefs, especially when there's laws being made against marginalized groups because of these beliefs. I think that's nothing. I believe that's absolutely
Yeah, I agree with that as well. All right, you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here now. Like I said, I do appreciate everybody up here. Hold on, give me 1 second. Let me change this. Okay, there we go. All right, you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Like I said, I do appreciate everyone up here. This was a great show. My YouTube channel is Volsy Thoughts. The same thing as my TikTok. You can also go to my YouTube channel, the Black Atheist Coalition, and the Deconstruction Junction. That's also a YouTube channel that I also edit and run. You can join me here every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, y'all. I appreciate you all. I have a new subscriber goal. I'm trying to reach to 15. Everyone join the cult. 15. Let's go and get to 15. It's only $2.99 a month. Less than the cost of a McChicken. Go ahead and follow everybody. Follow Azrael. Follow K. Follow Black Alien. Follow everyone who's here on the board. I will be back here Saturday. Again, this week is religion. Saturday is my last day for religion. The week after that, we're gonna go back to politics. And again,